A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
And now, the life of Mary Sothern. This is the lull before the storm for Mary and Max, a dangerous lull, charged with vague, uneasy whisperings of things to come. The surrender at Max's own urging of the fugitive Charles Cheney, key man in the gambling case against Max, has of course resulted in a call being issued for Max's return to police custody. Although Cheney's surrender may earn him leniency, the returned gambler's testimony can do Max untold damage in court, and trial has been set for very soon. While waiting to be taken back into the sheriff's custody, Max, characteristically, has been concerned about what is to become of his crippled and dependent sister, Phyllis, and his wife, Mary, should he receive a long jail sentence. And then, reassuringly, or perhaps ominously, in view of his love for Mary, Dr. John Benson assured Max that Mary would be well cared for in the event of Max's imprisonment. Dr. Benson has left the Sanders home as Mary, re-entering the room, sees the look of deep perplexity on her husband's face.
Oh, Max, just as I suspected. The twins were knee-deep in a jar of raspberry preserves. Let those little imps alone for one moment. Just one moment, I say, and... Why, Max, what's wrong? Where's John?
John? Oh, Doc Benson. Oh, he went.
Max, you and John didn't quarrel, did you?
Oh, no. Far from it. We can get along fine. Swell. Just dandy.
You're sure of that now?
I'd tell you if we'd been at each other's throats again, wouldn't I? It was something he said, that I said. Right anyhow, one thing led to another. The wind-up of it was that, I'll skip it.
Tell me, Max.
No, just forget it.
But if it affects you so, it's something I ought to know.
Well, you know, while you were still in here, Benson promised us that you'd be taken care of in case I had to go to prison.
And I'm sure he meant it in the right way, Max. And we ought to be grateful. Even though I hope and believe we'll never need to take advantage of his kindness. Well,
naturally, feeling low the way I do, I told him, you know how I feel about your having married a lug like me instead of a smooth guy like John Benson with a profession and stuff.
And you know how I feel about it. If I hadn't loved you, I wouldn't have taken you. You mustn't ever feel that way, Max.
Well, I can't help feeling that way, especially right now with a jail sentence hanging over me.
Max, I know you're innocent of that charge, and that's good enough for me.
Well, anyhow, I told Benson that you married the wrong guy. That's all. I couldn't help it, Toots. I'm always blurting out just what I think.
And you really think that? You believe that?
You should have married Benson. He's your type more than I am.
Max, what can I do to make you know that you're all that matters to me? That I married you because, simply because there wasn't anyone else in the world but the two of us. Not John Benson, not anyone.
I can't understand a guy like me when you could have...
You were the only man in the world, I tell you. No one else counted. I saw you clearly. Saw you for what you were. I wasn't fooled or mistaken. I knew what I was getting. And I was glad. I'm still glad. Don't ever run yourself down, Max. Don't ever talk like that again. Do you hear me? Do you?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, Max, darling.
I guess I was the only guy in the world. Anyhow, I had all the luck.
Let's say we were both lucky. Then it's understood, isn't it? No more of that kind of talk, right?
Well, I don't know if I can make any promises.
You are honest, aren't you, dear?
Well, let's both be honest. let's look at the facts squarely. And the breaks are against us. We might as well admit it.
Now, that would be admitting defeat. And we're not licked, Max. Not yet.
But you do admit that Cheney's testimony will connect me with that gambling ring. And I can yell innocent until I'm hoarse, and it won't make any difference. Evidence tells the story in a court of law. All right. They got me on the gambling charge. It ain't murder, no, but I still can get 5 years.
5 years?
Yeah, well, that's the top sentence, of course. It could be only 1 year, too, you know.
As if that weren't forever.
Well, I'm not saying there isn't a good chance that I can get out of it, Toots, but so far it don't look very good. And that's why I just thought that we ought to talk about it, you and me.
All right, Max, we will talk about it. But remember, only as a possibility. I'm not going to lie down and let them impose a sentence on you. Not without fighting. Not without making you fight.
Toots, don't you think that even a year would be an awful long time to me, too? Hardly being able to touch you, seeing you only once in a while, wondering how long I can hope to keep you with things being like that.
Max, you mustn't.
Well, we've been awfully close. And I like to think awfully in love.
Oh, we have, Max. So much.
Yeah, that's the trouble.
Trouble? Trouble that we've been so close?
Mary, what's going to happen when we're apart? What are you going to do?
I'll wait. I can wait, Max.
Oh, I don't know.
I do, dearest. I'll wait for you.
I mean, I don't know if it's right. I don't know if you should wait.
Well, you're my husband. If my love couldn't survive waiting, other women have waited, and it wasn't easy for them. I don't rate myself less than those women. If it must come to that, then you'll be away from me as much as I'll be away from you. You'll be lonely, too, and you'll be waiting.
Yeah, only I'll be in jail and no choice but to wait.
Oh, I see. And you think that I...
Now, look, Toots, no one knows better than me that you're just human. And the woods are full of pretty decent guys who know a first-rate woman when they see one.
Max, you just don't happen to know your own wife, that's all. How could you even think such a thing?
Gee, I mean, I didn't mean for you to take it like that. I just was hinting that... Here, Toots, take my hand. I'll answer the phone.
All right.
Hello? Yeah? Yeah, talking. Oh. Yeah, sure, I get it.
Who is it, dear?
No, don't bust up your little game, Sheriff. I'll come over under my own power. Yeah, save wear and tear on your handcuffs. Yeah, all right. Goodbye. Sheriff Foster.
For you?
Yeah, I told him I'd come over myself. They don't have to worry about me running away. Orders from the district attorney's office. I've got to be held. But there's one thing, Toots. The way Barster has fixed up those cells, he can get all the comforts of home, you know. Except only the guy's wife.
You'll be out very soon, I know.
Sure, I'll be out. House for a little kiss before I go.
Well, I'll see you often, darling.
Sure, I know you will, Toots. I know you will.
And hope for the best.
Yeah, and expect the worst. And if it's for a long, long time, well, John Benson's crazy about you. He's the one guy in the world
Darling, would you like me to walk over with you?
I'd love it, Toots.
How very like you, Max, to smile after voicing the thought that hurt you most. The smile is on your face, but your heart must be filled with pain.
ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers, first major tobacco company to bring you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to juvenile detail. You get a report of drug addiction within a group of teenagers. You don't know if the information is true. Your job, check it out. Meet Peter Lynn Hayes and Mary Healy, America's favorite husband and wife comedy team. They are typical of smokers everywhere who are saying, Chesterfield's for me. Mary says,
I've smoked regular-sized Chesterfields for about 7 years. Guess that ought to prove how I feel about Chesterfield's taste and mildness.
Peter says, Chesterfield's for me, too.
As far as I'm concerned, King is the only size. And like Mary says, Chesterfield is the only cigarette.
Either way you like them, I'll bet you'll find Chesterfield is best for you.
Yes, smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette. Regular and king-size Chesterfield. For the taste you want, the mildness you want, join the thousands now changing to Chesterfield. Always say, Chesterfield's for me.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, February 10th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of juvenile detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Powers. My name's Friday. I was on my way into the office, and it was 8:01 a.m. when I got to Georgia Street Juvenile. Squad room. Hi, Frank.
Well? Well, what do you think?
About what?
Ruth, what do you think?
Well, she's nice, sure.
Was that all you got to say?
Well, what do you want me to say?
Did you like her?
She's a nice girl, yeah.
You got another date with her?
No, I told her I'd call her sometime.
You said you'd call her, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Did you say when?
No, I just said sometime.
Sometime. Well, Faye's not going to like it.
Why?
She's just not, Joe. She's not sure we had it this time.
Well, look, Frank, I think it's real nice of you and Faye to be concerned. I don't think that I don't appreciate it, but when you asked me over last night, I figured we were just going to have dinner and sit around and talk. I didn't know anything about this girl going to be there. Don't you think you should have told me? Let me know.
Joe, you like girls, don't you?
Well, of course I like girls.
Well, we couldn't have done that, you know. Would have loused the whole thing up if we told you ahead of time. We just wanted you to meet her. Get the full effect. Bang, like that.
Yeah, I got the full effect.
Well, we tried to set it all up for you. She is pretty, don't you think?
Yeah, I guess so.
Blue eyes, red hair. I think she's real pretty.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Faye and me had the whole evening planned, right from the time you two met.
I kind of got that idea.
What do you mean?
Well, you're about as subtle as a water buffalo.
Now, you tell me where we were obvious. Go ahead, tell me.
Well, all right. First off, the music. That album of records of yours there. What's it called? Love Music or whatever it was?
Mood for Lovers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I bought them special.
Yeah. And the flowers on the table?
Well, you got to have flowers. You got to have something for the center of the table.
You must have gone a long way for those. Orange blossoms? You had to have those. Huh?
Well, Faye's not going to like it.
Well, I'm very sorry about that, Frank.
Oh, we're just trying to show you the advantages of getting married.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you and Faye trying, but let me do it my way, huh? Any mail this morning?
Huh?
Any mail?
Yeah, Skipper put a note in your box.
Okay. Tickets for the police show.
You got to sell tickets, huh?
Yeah, so do you. Here's your book.
You're not mad, are you, Joe?
Oh, man, it's just that all the time people are trying to be helpful, you know.
Well, I kind of hate to say it behind her back.
Hmm?
I say I hate to say it behind her back, but it was Faye's idea. I didn't have any part in it.
Yeah.
Faye's idea.
Faye's idea.
You're sure you're not sore, huh?
No, I told you, man.
Sure?
I'm sure, Frank, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Ruth.
What?
Look, Wasn't the fact that she was a redhead, was it? Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah, Skipper says to run this down.
Thanks, Ed.
What do you got?
Take a look at this.
Huh? Dear sir, I have some information for you about a big dope ring. It's important I talk to you. I'll meet you at the streetcar stop at 7th and Broadway on the east side after 3:45 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, Wednesday. That's today, huh?
Yeah. Read the rest of it.
I can't tell you my name now, but I'll be wearing a green skirt and a plaid sweater. I'll be standing right by the streetcar stop.
What do you think?
I don't know. No signature. You got anything in the envelope?
No. It's postmarked L.A., addressed to Juvenile Division. No way of telling where it came from.
Think it's from a crank?
Well, there's one place we can find out.
Yeah.
7th and Broadway. The fact that the note had been addressed to Juvenile Division instead of Narcotics Detail indicated that the person who wrote it had some knowledge of the workings of the police department. It also led us to believe that the writer was a juvenile. We checked again with Captain Powers on the letter, and it was decided that we'd make the meet that afternoon. Frank and I spent the rest of the morning going over reports on the case that we just finished, and at 3:15 p.m. we left the office. Frank stopped the car at 8th and Broadway for a traffic signal, and I got out and walked the remaining block. There was no one at the streetcar stop dressed in a green skirt and a plaid sweater. While Frank circled the block, I waited. 3:40 p.m., still no sign. At 3:52, a woman of about 23 got off the streetcar and waited on the corner. She was wearing a dark green suit with a plaid blouse. I waited for some indication that she might be the person we were waiting for, but she gave none. Finally, she turned, walked across the street, and disappeared into the crowd. 4 o'clock, 4:15, still no sign of the letter writer. 4:30, 4:45. Frank pulled into a loading zone near the corner, and I went over to talk to him.
What do you think?
Well, I don't know. She's an hour late now.
Uh-huh. Well, that note must have been from a crank.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, come on, get in. We better go back to the office.
Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute, Joe.
What?
Right there across the street.
Oh, yeah. Matches the description.
Must be her.
Well, she's looking this way. I'll check it. She looked about 15. Brown hair and a thin, young face. She was carrying an armful of school books. She paused in the corner and watched me. I walked up to her and told her I was a police officer. She nodded and then walked out to the safety zone and climbed onto a waiting streetcar. I followed her. She walked to the back of the car and took a seat. I sat down next to her. I could see Frank following us in our car. We rode 3 blocks before she spoke.
I'm sorry I was late.
It's all right.
I usually try to be on time, maybe even a little early. That's the way it should be, don't you think?
Well, what was it you wanted to talk about, miss?
I got hung up at school, couldn't get away when I thought I would.
Yeah.
That's the reason I'm late.
Well, you said something in the note about a narcotics ring.
How much am I going to get involved in this?
What do you mean?
How deep am I going to get? I don't want any trouble myself. I'm doing this to help somebody. But I don't want to get mixed up in it myself.
Well, maybe you better tell me what it's all about first, huh? We can decide the rest of it later.
That's the way it has to be?
Well, you called us, remember?
Yeah, I guess so.
What's your name?
Edna.
Your last name?
Well, that isn't going to help any. You don't need it.
How old are you?
15.
All right, what about this dope ring?
I want to tell you about it. A friend of mine is in pretty deep. I think she's hooked bad. I want to help her.
What's your friend's name?
You have to have that?
Well, we're not going to be able to do very much without it, are we?
Catherine. I can't give you her last name. I can't.
How old is she?
15.
All right, now what makes you think she's using narcotics?
I just know, that's all.
Well, that's a pretty serious charge. You must have some reason for saying it.
I've got a reason. I've got good reasons. You think I'd go to the cops if I didn't have? You think that?
What kind of narcotics do you think she's using?
Heroin.
You know that for sure, do you?
Yeah, I've seen her take a fix.
Where?
Hmm?
Where'd she take the fix?
I've seen her do it in her room at home. A place near school up at Lewis Apartments.
Louis?
Louis Conklin. He got Catherine hooked. He's the one I want to see you get.
How old's he?
Oh, I don't know. I think around 20, 21.
Where'd you meet him?
Down at Balboa last summer. Catherine and me went down for a week. We met them then, Louis and Vince.
You know this Vince's last name?
I think it's Beal.
B-E-A-L?
I guess so.
Now, these 2 boys, are they supplying Catherine with the heroin?
Yeah, they got it for her.
How'd you happen to meet them?
First day we were down at Balboa, we went down to the beach. We saw them then. We didn't talk to them right off, not the first day.
Uh-huh.
The next day, they came over to where we were and laid down on the beach. They had a portable radio and they were playing it loud. They were playing it real loud.
Yeah.
Well, Lewis asked us if they had the radio on too loud, and we said no. Then we got to talking.
All right, go ahead.
We found out that they knew a lot of the kids that go to our school, so we talked about them. We talked and listened to the radio.
Mm-hmm. Were either your or Catherine's parents with you?
No. Catherine's father's got a friend who lives at Balboa all the time. We were staying with her.
All right, go ahead.
After we knew him a week, one night they suggested that we go for a ride down the coast toward San Diego.
Yeah.
They'd never given us any trouble, so Catherine and me talked it over and decided to go. They'd never gotten fresh or anything, so we thought it'd be all right.
Mm-hmm.
We drove down the beach, and then we stopped. Boys had some beer in the car, and we drank some of it, just a little. We didn't think it would hurt, just a little.
All right.
I guess we drank more than we thought, because we both got a little drunk. First time I ever got drunk. All I wanted to do was go home and go to sleep. That's all I wanted to do. I didn't feel good. I remember that. I didn't feel good.
Go ahead.
I got out of the car, and I walked around for a while. After I walked, I felt better, and I went back to the car. Catherine and the two boys were smoking. I could smell it when I got in the car. Real sweet. Sickening.
Marijuana?
Yeah. Vince asked me if I wanted some. I told him I didn't, and they all laughed again. Said I was just a little kid, called me chicken. So I did.
You smoked the marijuana, did you?
Yeah, but not very much. Got sick again, and I threw the stick away. That made Vince sore because I hadn't smoked very much. He got out of the car and found what was left of the cigarette and put it in a box he had. Then he got in the car, and the three of them all drank some more of the beer and smoked the rest of the marijuana. They were all laughing and yelling.
Catherine was smoking, too?
Yes, she was having a great time, laughing it up. Seemed like everything that happened was just about the funniest thing she ever heard. They were all laughing and telling me what a square I was. Finally, I couldn't stand it anymore. So I said if they wouldn't take me home, I'd walk.
And what'd they say to that?
Told me to go ahead. Said I was a drag anyway, and they'd be glad to get rid of me.
You left then?
Yeah. I tried to get Catherine to go with me. She said she was having too good a time and she wasn't leaving. She told me to go home and to expect her when she walked in.
Yeah.
So I left. Got out of the car and walked up the highway. Was going to catch a ride back to town. Pretty scared, but I wanted to get back. I didn't feel very good.
Mm-hmm.
I waited for the car, but the ones that went by wouldn't stop. Then Vince and Lewis and Catherine came by. They told me to get into the car, and we drove home. I had to wait out in front with Catherine until she sobered up. She said she was too drunk to go into the house.
What time did you get home?
Oh, it must have been 3 or 3:30.
Mm-hmm. Did you see Vince and Lewis again?
Well, I didn't, but Catherine did. Every night we were there, she went out with them. I didn't want to have anything more to do with them. She told me if I said anything to the people we were staying with, she'd cause me a lot of trouble. I like Catherine. She's my best friend. I didn't want to see her get into any trouble. Thought when we left Balboa, she'd quit seeing the fellas. That's what I thought. She'd stop seeing them.
Did she?
No. When school started again, she was still going with Lewis. I'd see her around the school, but she wouldn't have anything to do with me. Said I was a cube. Talking all the time about how she didn't know they grew corners like me anymore.
How'd you find out she was on heroin?
One day I saw her take a pop. She was at her house, and I came over to talk to her. She was pretty sick, and she went into her room. I went in after her to see if I could help, and I saw her taking a fix. After that, I didn't see much of her. I guess she didn't want me around, knowing she was hooked.
When was all this?
About 2 months ago. I've seen her a couple of times since. She looks real bad.
Her parents know anything about the narcotics?
I don't know. There's just her father. I don't think he cares much. If he does, he's not doing anything about it. I'm just telling you all this so you'll get Lewis and Vince. They're the ones who started her. They're seeing that she gets the age.
You know where we can find them?
Yeah. Lewis has a little apartment over in the Westlake area.
You know the address?
No, but I can show you where it is.
All right.
I just want to see you get them. Get them good.
Mm-hmm.
She was my best friend. Now she won't have anything to do with me. Nothing.
Well, maybe we can straighten it out.
What do you want to do now?
Well, first we better get off this streetcar. End of the line. Edna and I got off the streetcar, and Frank picked us up. We stopped at a drugstore and put in a call to the office requesting that a policewoman be sent out to take the girl into custody. 10 minutes later, Officer Irene Gardner arrived, and the four of us drove over to the Westlake area. The young girl pointed out the building where she told us that Vince Beale and Louis Conklin lived. She gave us a description of the two suspects, and finally, after Miss Gardner had talked to her, she also gave us the full name of her friend, Catherine Pilgrim. We checked at the building and found that the two suspects occupied apartment 4G. Frank and I talked to the manager of the place, but she told us that the pair weren't in and that she didn't know when they'd be back. We returned to the car and told Officer Gardner to take Edna to Georgia Street Juvenile and hold her until we could get there. After that, Frank called the office and ran the names Vincent Beale and Louis Conklin through R&I. They both had misdemeanor records in California, and Beale had served time in the county jail for possession of narcotics. We called Captain Powers and told him what had happened, and then we returned to the apartment and set up a surveillance. At 7:25 p.m., we heard someone coming down the hall.
Don't worry about a thing, honey. It's all going to be all right.
I'm sick, Vince. Real sick.
I know. I'll make a call, get you fixed up. Just calm
All
down.
right, hold it right there, police officers.
Hey, what are you doing in here? You got no right to break in like this. What's this all about?
I gotta go, Vince. I got it.
Hold it up, Miss Pilgrim.
How do you know who I am? What are you gonna do?
Don't say anything, Kathy. Don't tell him nothing.
Turn around, Beale.
What for? What are you shoving me around?
Turn around.
For? Hey, turn around. I'll shake him, Joe.
Stand
You
still.
won't find nothing, cop. I'm clean. Call it nothing.
Where's Conklin?
You got it figured so good, you tell me.
You better watch that mouth, kid. It's going to get you into trouble.
You tell me all about it, cop. I got no problem. What are you taking us in on? What's the charge?
Violation of the Narcotics Act and contributing.
Yeah? You didn't find anything on me. You didn't find anything in the pad. You've been on the spike, cop, and you know it. Now, why don't you run along, and I'll forget all about you being
All right,
here.
let's go.
Where are you taking me?
Downtown.
To jail?
Juvenile hall.
You gonna call my father?
That's right.
Well, he won't tell you anything. He won't tell you a word.
Keep your mouth shut.
Why? I got nothing to hide. I'm not a hype. You ask my father.
Let me see your arms, Beale.
Huh?
Your sleeves. Roll them up. Come on, quick.
Here.
Where'd you get those marks?
You tell me.
Let me see your arms, Miss Pilgrim.
It's not gonna prove anything. Not a
Let
thing.
me see them.
Go ahead, honey. If you don't go along with them, they bring out the rubber hose.
Somebody messed with you a long time ago.
Yeah.
Come on, Miss Pilgrim. Let me see your arms.
Well, all right, here.
How about it, Joe?
Take a look.
Yeah.
Fresh needle marks. We called Narcotics Division and asked them to come out and go over the room in an attempt to find a trace of narcotics. We put in a call to the office, and Irene Gardner came out and took the Pilgrim girl into custody. The stakeout was set up on the apartment to apprehend the other suspect, Louis Conklin. Frank and I took Vince Beale to the office and questioned him for over an hour, but he failed to come up with his source of supply for the heroin. He was turned over to officers from Narcotics Detail and booked in at the main jail on suspicion of violation of the State Narcotic Act, a felony. A call had been put into the father of Catherine Pilgrim, and at 9:37 p.m. he arrived at the office.
Friday and Smith, where are they?
My name's Friday. What can I do for you?
I'm Robert Pilgrim. I want my daughter.
She's downstairs right now. A doctor's taking care of her.
What for?
Well, she's pretty sick, Mr. Pilgrim.
Sick. What's the matter? You've got no right to give her any kind of medication without my approval.
We couldn't reach you.
How hard did you try?
We called your home and your place of business. We got no answer. Our doctor thought it was best to give the girl something right away.
What's wrong with her? What are you doing to her?
Your daughter's a narcotic addict, Mr. Pilgrim.
That is a lie. Now, you get her up here right now. You hear me? You get on that phone and have her brought to this office right now. I'm taking her home.
Afraid we can't do that.
Who are you to tell me what's going to happen? I pay your salary, officer. Don't forget it. If you don't get on that phone and have my daughter brought up here right now, I'll make some calls and you'll be pounding a beat out in the Toolies. I've got a lot of friends in this town.
And you've got a daughter who's hooked bad.
Has she told you that?
No, sir. But all the tests point that way. She's got needle marks all up and down her arm.
Well, you better get out and find a lawyer fast because I'm going to pull that tin badge right off you.
Is that so?
You bet it is. How do I get a line?
Dial 9.
Hello, Jack. This is Bob Pilgrim. I'm down at the police station. Yeah, Kathy's here. The cop says she's a hophead. I want you to tell her. Here, you talk to him.
Yes, sir. Who am I speaking with? Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, we did find hypodermic marks. I see. All right, sir. We'll be checking with you.
Now you'll get my daughter?
I'll have her sent right up. You want to come out in the hall, Frank?
Yeah.
Who'd he call? It's their family doctor. We might not have a case here.
What's the matter?
Well, the doctor says he's been treating the girl for the past 6 months.
Yeah.
Been giving her hypodermic injections.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Tobacco has been one of man's basic pleasures for over 400 years. And the Chesterfields you smoke today are the best cigarettes ever made. And when I say that, I mean Chesterfield regular, I mean Chesterfield king size. Remember, this is the cigarette that's tested and approved by 30 years of scientific tobacco research. The cigarette that gives you proof of highest quality, low nicotine, the taste you want, the mildness you want. The cigarette that has an established good record with smokers, proven by test after test. Yes, friends, the Chesterfields you smoke today are the best cigarettes ever made. So join the thousands now changing to Chesterfield. Regular or king size. Always say, Chesterfields for me.
With the doctor's statement, there was nothing we could do but release the girl to her father pending further investigation. The parents of the teenager who'd written us the first letter came to the office, and she was released to them. At 11:40 p.m. that night, we got word that the other suspect had returned to the apartment and had been taken into custody. He was identified as Louis Conklin, age 23. He was taken to the main jail and booked on the same charges as Vincent Beale. Their apartment was gone over, but no trace of narcotics was found. We questioned both suspects again, but they failed to cooperate with us. Frank and I checked out of the office and went home. The following morning, we drove out to see the doctor who had told me he was treating the Pilgrim girl. He said the girl was underweight and highly nervous, and that he had been giving her vitamin injections. He went on to say that he'd stopped treating her 5 months previous at her father's request, and that he had not seen the girl since then. February 11th, 10:24 a.m. We checked the car belonging to Vincent Beale. In the trunk, we found an expensive leather jacket. It looked too expensive to be worn by a man who had the reputation of never holding a job. We took the jacket over to the crime lab and had it checked. From a cleaning tag, we got the name of the cleaner who'd serviced the jacket. We contacted him, and he remembered the jacket as having been among several stolen from his store. With this information, we went back to the main jail and had the Conklin boy brought from his cell. He told us that the jacket belonged to Vincent Beale. He was brought into the interview room.
This leather jacket belong to you, Vince?
No, I never saw it before.
Conklin says it's yours.
I don't know. Maybe it is. What difference does it make?
Take a look. We want to know.
Yeah, it's mine.
Where'd you get it?
Where do you think I bought it? You know someplace you can get these without buying them?
Yeah, the same place you picked this one up.
Well, what's that supposed to mean?
You know a man named Ted Hartman?
Who?
Ted Hartman.
Ted Hartman. Never heard of him.
He knows you.
Maybe he's got a better memory than me.
Says you used to work for him.
Is that right?
Yeah. Now, how about it?
Maybe I did. I had a lot of jobs.
The cleaner says you worked for him a couple of weeks last December.
That's a long time ago.
Says this jacket was stolen from him.
Well, where do I fit?
He thinks you stole it.
He's crazy.
He's sure enough to make a complaint.
They'll laugh him out of court.
Conklin says it's yours.
I told you I bought it.
Conklin wants no part of a burglary rap.
What'd Conklin tell you?
Maybe we ought to get your side of it, huh?
What'd he tell you? I got a right to know. Look, he's going to make a beef like that on me. I got a right to know what he said.
He wants no part of it. He lays it all on you.
He's no good. I had him figured for a guy I could trust. He did all right on the deal. Lou kept us both going.
What do you mean?
I thought he told you all about it.
Yeah, well, we want to hear it from you. A lot of times stories get all mixed up. Now we want to get it right.
Now, we knocked the place, but it was both of us. Lou was in on it all the way.
Go ahead.
We were scratching for H. We had it real bad. We needed some way out. I thought about the cleaning place. Figured we could score good. Well, we did all right. Took care of three of us for a long time.
You, Conklin, and the Pilgrim girl, is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
What were you shooting?
Me and Lou kept it down. The Pilgrim kid, she built up fast. She was juicing 5 caps a day. I should have listened to Lou. He kept telling me to drop her, leave her alone.
Yeah.
Wasn't anything between us. It was just for laughs. And then all of a sudden she was hooked bad. We had to do something. We stole her jacket so we could keep her supplied. 5 caps a day. You know, that's a lot of H. I tried to break her down. I tried to cut her habit. I did what I could. You can see that, can't you? I did everything I could.
How much was that? 5:23 p.m. Frank and I, along with policewoman Irene Gardner, drove out to the Pilgrim residence. We went up to the front porch and rang the bell.
Yeah. What do you want?
I'd like to see your daughter.
Now, you get out of here. You get out of here right now. I've had enough of this shoving around from you. It's about time you learned your place.
It might be better if we came in.
Anything you've got to say to me, you can say here. I don't want any cops in my house.
You want to get your daughter?
What for?
You're going to have to take her down to juvenile hall.
You guys just don't give up, do you? You want me to call my doctor again?
We talked to him this afternoon.
And you know the story. Now get out of here.
You want to get your daughter?
Look, I've got a gun inside. If you're still here when I come back, I'm going to
Now, you listen to me, mister. You've been acting like a big man long enough. You can play the part of the outraged parent with your family, but don't try it with us.
I'm not going to have you talk to me like that.
Not much you can do about it. We got the boy who's been supplying your daughter with narcotics. It's pretty clear that this home isn't the place for her.
She's a good girl.
We didn't say she wasn't.
Then why don't you leave her alone?
You know better than that.
Can do you boys some good downtown. I got a lot of friends.
You're going to need them.
All right, you want to make a case out of this? I'll fight you in every court in the country before I let you take my daughter away from me. Now, you just try it.
Your daughter's a drug addict. She's sick. She's got to be straightened out. She needs help.
Who are you to set yourself up as the jury?
You got a fine girl in there. She's got all the breaks except somebody who thinks enough of her to stand by her.
There isn't anything she wants she doesn't have.
What about the things she needed? You let her run all over the town by herself. She gets in trouble, and you won't take the time to care for her.
What about those two men who got her started? What are you going to do with them? They're guilty. If it hadn't been for those two, this never would have happened.
They'll be taken care of. You lay the blame any place you want, mister, but if you're honest, you'll keep it.
What's going to happen to her?
She'll be given medical attention. We'll do what we can.
I can afford to take care of her. I've got the money. I'll hire the best people. I want her to have the best.
Yeah.
She's mine. I'm her father. I've got the right to take care of her.
Yes, sir, that's right.
Hmm?
Why didn't you?
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On June 3rd, trial was held in Department 98, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Earlier, George Fenneman told you exactly why the Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. And best for you. Now, the rest is up to you. Get a carton or two for yourself. Smoke them, and you'll say, as we do, it's Chesterfields for me.
Vincent Norman Beale and Louis Shellman Conklin were tried and convicted of one count of burglary and additional charges of violation of the State Narcotic Act of felony and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. They received sentences as prescribed by law. Burglary is punishable by imprisonment for a period of not less than 5 years in the state prison. Catherine Noreen Pilgrim had a hearing in juvenile court and was made a ward of that court. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Joyce McCluskey, Harry Bartell, Carolyn Jones. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely different Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Filter cigarette smokers, here is headline news. Nationwide demand for L&M filters drops price. Now you save up to 4 cents a pack, 40 cents a carton. Now everyone can afford America's highest quality and best filter tip cigarette. Remember, only L&M's have the miracle filter tip containing alpha cellulose. You get much more flavor, much less nicotine. Buy L&M filters, the distinctive monogram cigarette at the new low price. L&M filters.
Hear Crime and Peter Chambers following John Cameron Swayze on the NBC Radio Network.
Pat Novak For Hire.
Sure. I'm Pat Novak. For hire.
sign out in front of my office says, Pat Novak for hire. It's an easy way to put it, because if you're going to make a living down on the waterfront in San Francisco, you got to do everything but run for office. I rent boats and kick around a few scruples if the price is right. It's a living, and if anything goes wrong, you can always get your mother a visitor's pass. If you do get in trouble, you go first class all the way. I found that out when I first met Doreen Wilde. It was almost dark, and I was sitting in the office with the door open when she first showed up. Showed up's the right word. The wind was blowing outside and pushed her dress tightly against her legs as she walked in. She was young. From what I could see, she made Cleopatra look like Apple Mary. She had a voice like a bowl of warm stew.
Hello. Are you Mr. Novak?
That's my story.
I'm Doreen Wilde. Mind if I sit down? On your desk here?
You'll block the view.
You'll get used to the new one. There. Now lean back and let me look at you. I want to hire you, Mr. Novak.
After the look or before?
You've got a power complex, darling. You know a man named Joe Candono?
Oh, he's a gambler out on Geary Street. Friend of yours?
I don't dislike him that much. We have business connections. That's why I want to hire you. To give him some money tonight.
A needy case or a bad debt?
A bad debt. Candono has an IOU from my brother for $10,000. You can go from there.
Not if I'm supposed to say it was a fixed game. Candono's been around a long time.
Yes?
That's right. There are only two kinds of gamblers in this town, honest ones and dead ones. So if your brother owes $10,000, he better pay.
That's why I'm hiring you. Just pay off Candono and make sure you get the pictures.
Pictures of the Grand Canyon, huh?
We'll talk about my past some other time.
Well, for the moment, we'll just say you're photogenic.
That's right.
Your brother can't get the $10,000, so Candono's shaking you down.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll bet you make a nice rattle. How did Candono get the pictures?
My brother gave them to him.
You got a charming brother.
You see only his better side. Will you do the job for $100?
How long is it going to take?
2 hours, maybe. You'll have to meet with my brother.
To meet with your brother, $100 is coolie wages.
He'll give you the information, then you can see Candono.
Where do I meet your brother?
Room 729, the Dixie Hotel. He'll be there about 8:30.
That packing crate down on Powell Street? Your brother's a cutie. I know winos that wouldn't go in there.
We'll meet you there at 8:30.
Oh? You going to be there?
Yes. Do you mind?
I can stand it.
Do you carry a spare battery for that gleam in your eye?
Your $100 covers that, too. See you at 8:30. She smiled at me, and I felt like a guy that just found an oil well in the basement. Well, there were a lot of things about the deal I didn't like, but she kind of made you forget. I kept remembering her as she walked out of there with a slow, easy gait. She had knee action that'd make a Nash jealous. Well, I hit the Dixie Hotel about 8:25. It was the kind of a hotel that has a 4 a.m. checkout rule. There were 2 or 3 guys sitting around reading tip sheets, and over in the corner, a couple of well-upholstered gals were talking about recipes, I guess. The desk clerk was the worst of the lot. He looked like a guy that might have been expelled from Alcatraz. Nobody looked up as I walked through. When I got to 729, I knocked. There was no answer, so I opened the door and walked in. There was a bed lamp on and a lot of smoke in the room. Through the smoke, I could pick out the committee. They were crazy about me.
Come on in. Looking for someone?
Yeah, but she's got a better figure than you.
Close the door.
No, she's not here. I'll just run along.
Close the door, mister.
You need the ventilation.
I said close the door. Now sit down. Sit down on the bed there.
You're a tough host.
So I'm broken-hearted. Just be a good boy now and give it to me, huh?
You got the wrong guy.
You give it to me fast, mister.
I don't know what you're talking about. I came up here to meet somebody.
Already met him.
I've run across better people in sewers. Now, look, meathead, I'm only going to say this once more, so make a copy. You got the wrong guy. You think I got something? I haven't got it.
No?
No, so you and your playmates swing out of here in your tails. I never saw you until 3 minutes ago, and I'm tired of the friendship already.
All right. Eddie.
Yeah?
Go through this guy's coat.
Yeah, sure.
Now, wash your hands, Junior, and then put them in your own pockets.
Oh. You got a favorite profile, fella? Because I'm going to put this gun on one side. Take your choice. Grab him, hold him up. All right, Eddie. Now you don't have to wash your hands.
I woke up with a head the size of Rhode Island. I rolled over and tried to get up, but I was about as strong as a moth in a wind tunnel. The room was dark, and I couldn't see very well. There was a stale, musty odor. Could have been a marathon dancer's dressing room. With a little fixing up, the sort of place you wouldn't be found dead in. There was a guy lying next to me who didn't feel that way about it. One look at the guy, and I could see he was dead from the crew cut down. Somebody wrapped a towel around his throat and forgot to say when. I should have got out of there right then, but I used my brain like a bottle of medicine, a small dose every 3 hours. I stood there, looking down at him, and felt like a guy that's just rolled a 7 the second time out. A small chunk of light squeezed through the door, and I could see particles of dust settling on his face. He was lying there, straight and white-faced, with a little bit of scowl, as if he didn't like the idea. I went through his wallet and found a few bucks and some identification. Enough to prove he was Frank Wilde, Doreen's brother. Oh, it looked nice and clear. They'd done everything but pin the IOU on his shirt. Well, I couldn't wait around because when homicide got there, I was going to be as popular as a can of salmon on Friday. Homicide meant Inspector Hellman, a guy that couldn't even make the vice squad. We were as close as a piccolo and a bass trombone. I got to thinking about him and decided to get out of there. It was a good idea 5 minutes ago.
Hello, Novak.
Oh, Hellman.
Small wake, huh?
Just a few close friends. You always drop by room 729 this time of night?
I got a bad memory for faces. Who's your friend?
His name's Frank Wilde.
That's one answer.
I was supposed to meet him here at 8:30.
That's another. You got a third? Who killed him?
I don't know, Hellman. Maybe 3 or 4 people. Maybe a pack of lugs from Joe Candono's.
Yeah? I think you're modest, Novak. I think maybe you killed him.
Oh, yeah, sure. I wrapped the towel around his neck, beat myself to death with a pistol, and jumped into the same grave.
Maybe.
Oh, stop it, Hellman. That isn't smart.
That still leaves you in the running.
I came up here to make $100. That's all I know about it. Check down at the desk. They'll tell you.
I checked on the way up. The desk clerk says room 729 is in your name.
Get your dough back, Hellman. You've been hijacked.
Yeah?
Look up a gal named Doreen Wilde.
Who's she?
The stiff sister. He got in a jam with Joe Candono and bailed himself out with some pictures.
Oh. What kind of pictures?
You just look her up and find out where she was at 9 o'clock tonight.
I got a bird in the hand.
And call on Joe Candono. His Gunsel's held a convention here tonight.
That's too much legwork. You're handy, Novak.
I can't afford a bum rap, Hellman. Get yourself another boy.
You get me one. Your hotel room, there's a dead guy in it, and you got a bad record. I can make that add up for the DA.
You can't add a pair of zeros without crib notes, Hellman.
I can try hard, and I'll be all through in 24 hours. That's how long you got, Novak. You got one day, and you're not going to be lonesome. Because I'm going to put a tail on you the whole time.
Well, that'll be fun.
I'm going to know where you are every minute.
Stop posing, will you? You couldn't follow an elephant across a basketball court.
Just stay handy, Novak. I'll be ready. I'm going to fingerprint this room and run that towel through a test. And then I'll be ready.
Yeah, you better watch out for that towel.
Huh?
Remember, when it comes to towels, Hellman, you have to start from scratch. Well, when I left, Hellman was smiling like an Academy Award winner. I didn't blame him, because from my side of the road, things looked rough. From here in, he could play a pat hand and come out all right. There were only 2 other people, Joe Candono and that girl. I was real worried, so I looked up the only honest guy I know, an ex-doctor and a boozer by the name of Jocko Madigan. Oh, he was all right for a guy who tries to drink all the whiskey in the world every night, only some night he's going to make it. I finally found him at the Bellevue Hotel, holed up in the hunt room. He was getting the most he could out of a bottle, old whiskey and young ideas. It was 10 o'clock, and he was carrying a bigger load than the Berlin airlift.
Oh-ho! A drink for Mr. Novak, and one for me. I'll have to catch up.
Skip me. You busy, Jocko?
I'm deep in the labor of love. What happened to your face?
I got a better offer. I'm in a jam, Jocko. You gotta help me.
You're always in a jam. You're the eternal patsy. Also, you're my solitary reason for going on.
Forget it, Jocko.
Well, you're the last project Providence has allowed me. An hors d'oeuvre that fate has thrown me to nibble on. I'm your conscience, you know.
Yeah, all right.
You have no conscience of your own. Oh, you have fleeting moments of fright which you confuse as moral sense, but no conscience.
All right, let's get off the platform, shall we? I need help, quick.
What kind of jam? A big one?
Yeah. I woke up about an hour ago holding hands with a dead man.
Where?
Room 729 at the Dixie Hotel.
I hope you changed rooms.
Hellman walked in and found me praying for the dead. He's got an idea I did it.
A shrewd policeman.
That was the second feature. We opened with a pistol whipping by Joe Candono's gunsels. Oh, you gotta help me.
Would a drink help?
Hellman's got a guy tailing me. I gotta go slow, Jocko. I want you to hit Candono's place and pick up every scrap of dope, will you?
I'd look out of place in a gambling joint.
There's a bar. Tour the joint and find out when the boys got back, huh?
Where do you plan to be? Hiding under a rose bush?
I'm going up to see a girl. She's the dead guy's sister.
Are you going up to extend sympathy?
She's mixed up, too. Candono's holding some blackmail pictures.
Let's reverse the assignment.
Now, look, you see Candono. I'll tag by Doreen Wiles' place.
Huh? She must be Harry Wilde's daughter.
Who's he?
The money crowd, to use a low term.
What's he like?
A retired octopus. After he got sick of chasing cigarette girls, he settled down to be a social worker.
Yeah?
Now he's like all social workers. A guy who's embarrassed because he wasn't born poor. And for years, he's been annoying the poor by trying to help them.
Hit Candono's place. Now, if you hit anything good, phone me at her apartment. And keep out of trouble.
Well, I'd say the same to you if it weren't futile. Good night, lover.
When I walked out, Geary Street was cold and deserted. The fog had moved in and staked out a claim all the way down to Market Street. There were two Marines across the street arguing, so I didn't hear it at first. When I got out of range, I began to hear the footsteps behind me. I stopped once, and the footsteps broke off. I walked on a few yards, and the footsteps were right behind me. They had a familiar ring, and I was sure it was either Hellman or a water buffalo. When I stopped and waited, Hellman walked up.
You're out late, Novak.
What happened to that tail? Did he ask for more dough?
I put our best man on it. Where are you going?
Well, now, I'll bet you get some real good answers on that question.
Where you going, smart boy?
Doreen Wiles' apartment.
Yeah, why?
To find out where she was at 9 o'clock tonight?
It won't do you any good.
Why?
Coroner's report. The guy got knocked off about 7 o'clock tonight.
Well, he took a long time dying.
That towel was a joke. If he wasn't strangled, he would have been red-faced. He wasn't.
Oh, well, now, let me guess, Hellman. He died of lingering malaria.
Yeah, he was poisoned. That means he was dead when you brought him in.
Oh, that changes things, doesn't it?
A little. Don't let me keep you, Novak. I'm busy anyway.
Yeah?
Yeah. Checking your alibi for 7 o'clock.
I had no alibi for 7 o'clock. That was right after the girl left my office. Oh, I might be able to dig up a witness, but I wasn't sure. It's like asking a horse if he's going to win the Derby. Well, the questions were piling up, so I dropped by Doreen Wiles' apartment. I began to wonder. It was right next door to Candono's place. When she opened the door, I found out what the right kind of breakfast food will do. She was wearing a slack suit without much slack, and she was swaying slightly in a warm, slow way. Well, if there was any rhythm there, it's the kind you hear 1,000 miles down the Amazon. And when she said hello, you knew it was all chemistry.
Hello, Mr. Novak.
I missed you at room 729.
This'll do just as well. Come in.
Yeah.
You're wearing your face a different style.
Yeah, Candono's boys didn't like it the old way.
I like it. I like it very much.
Yeah, what happened to you tonight?
Frank was supposed to pick me up. He didn't come by.
I see. Your brother finally showed up at the hotel.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. He paid off that IOU.
Is that a quaint way of telling me he's dead?
I suppose. Oh, don't sob so loud. You'll wake the neighbors.
You know by this time that to me Frank was a poor excuse at best. Nothing more. Besides, I knew he was dead. Father's down there now identifying the body.
Just for the record, who has those pictures now?
Candono, I suppose?
His boys piled me tonight looking for something. I got the idea it wasn't my Social Security number.
Oh, you've had a busy evening.
Yeah, they're going to book me for Frank's murder. Just call me Patsy.
You need a drink then, darling?
It can wait. Now, look, you're going to save some time if you tell me right now.
No, I didn't kill Frank. I'd be willing to contribute to a shrine for the man who did.
How about Candono?
I don't know. In fact, I don't know Mr. Candono. Thirsty yet?
Yeah, go ahead.
Patsy, I'll give you $5,000 to find out who killed Frank.
Hmm?
Oh, I'll admit it was a good idea killing him, but I want to see the family name cleared up.
Why don't you change names? That's easier.
Oh, don't be crude. Will you do it?
I may hang, and you can save your $5,000.
Here's your drink. The money might help. Should we call it a bargain?
Suit yourself.
You don't want to stand there balancing that drink.
No.
That's it. Sit down. You know, you're an interesting guy, Patsy. I like you.
Yeah?
Yes, don't snowball the statement.
Why'd you make it then?
It seems safe enough.
You sure?
You're a little close, Patsy.
Are you sure?
At this point, I don't care.
Come here, baby.
Patsy.
What's on your mind?
Where I can buy a desert island cheap.
Looks like you got an offer.
Father, he's forgotten his key. Excuse me. Come on over, Father. I want you to meet Mr. Novak.
Mr. Novak?
Yeah, they think I killed your son. Hi.
He's the one I told you about.
Oh, yes. Yes, now I remember.
It's probably for me. Hello? Oh, yes. I think so. I'll be right there. I've got to run, darling. Only be gone a while. Father, keep Mr. Novak sober, I'll pick up from there. Good night, Father. See you soon, Patsy.
A remarkable girl.
She's active, too. Does she always sail out for a nightcap?
A remarkable girl.
More so than Frank?
I'm afraid so.
You seem to like him better dead.
Well, at least he's more harmless that way. But perhaps that sounds unbecoming of a father.
Well, if he looks better that way, suit yourself.
I've never made any attempt to camouflage my feelings. I'm fond of my daughter. And my son, I've loathed. In a casual way. He's a mishap of nature which for years I've been content to blame on his mother. This matter of the gambling debts, case in point.
You know about that?
Oh, yes. Plus Doreen's liberal contribution to the problem. By the way, Mr. Novak, who did kill him?
I thought maybe you did.
No. I'm not a doer. I just cheer from the grandstand. Excuse me. Hello? It's for you, Mr. Novak.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello, Patsy. I'm down at Candono.
I know that. What'd you find out?
Never played 2 and 8 on a roulette wheel.
All right, drop the clowning.
Well, I found out about your friends.
Yeah?
They came in about 10 o'clock, so that puts them right in line.
No, not anymore. The guy got knocked off at 7 o'clock.
Oh, impatient, wasn't he? In that case, you better start looking for a tie-up between the girl and Candono.
Not a chance.
No?
She doesn't even know Candono.
She makes friends very quickly then, because she just walked into his office.
Well, things were beginning to fall into place. If the girl and Candono were that chummy, they were using those pictures. To squeeze the old man, probably. There was only one thing about it that didn't make sense. Why did Candono's boys beat my brains out if he had the pictures all along? Well, I talked to the old man a while, and then I headed for Candono's joint. They were closed when I got there, so I went home to bed. Oh, I'd have given a good price if tomorrow never rolled around. But the sun was eating through the haze the next morning when I walked into Candono's place. A sad old biddy with a mop told me Candono was in his office, so I knocked on the door.
Yeah?
Hello, Candono. I'm the guy your boys pistol whipped.
Novak? Come on in. I wouldn't worry. Maybe you'll heal handsome.
Thanks.
I'm sorry about that, Novak.
I'll bet you are.
Well, that's the way you'll get it. It won't come engraved. If I say I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're full of tears. You going to shed one when they send me up on a bum murder rap?
No, I'll buy you a handkerchief, though.
If you got the time, you might tell me what Doreen Wilde was doing in here last night.
What do you care? Maybe we're in love.
And maybe you're putting the screws on old man Wilde.
Hello? Yeah. Did you tell anybody you were coming here?
No, just a birdie.
It's for you.
Yeah. Hello, Jocko. When? Well, from where I'm sitting, it doesn't make sense. No, of course not. Yeah, I'll let you know. Well, how you feeling, Candono?
Get to the point, Novak.
They found a dead guy out in the marina this morning. He was shot and banged up badly, but they identified him.
What's that to me?
Nothing, except they identified him as Joe Candono. Confused?
No. It was a guy named Eddie Darrow.
Friend of yours?
Yeah, I guess he was.
What does that prove?
It proves lots, Novak. It proves unless you find her in a cemetery, never trust a woman.
Well, with a good assist from Deep Short, we could make it now. I knew that. Candono was mad about something, and the lid was going to blow. I called Hellman. His lid was gone 10 minutes ago. He had the murder gun, and it belonged to old man Wilde. A messenger walked in and put it on the sergeant's desk a few hours ago with no explanation. Oh, that was the clincher. From here on in, it was cakes and ale. I told Hellman what I knew. He picked me up at Geary and Taylor, and we headed for the Wilde apartment. The girl and the old man were in the living room when we walked in.
Everybody had breakfast?
Patsy, I didn't know you came out till after dark.
We just wanted to call on your old man. Wilde, this is Inspector Hellman.
Is there anything I can do?
You're ambitious, Wilde. Hellman's here to arrest you for murder.
I'm amused, but not frightened.
They might have gone easy on you for killing your son, but not Eddie Darrow.
And who is Eddie Darrow?
The guy you thought was Candono when you killed him last night. Your daughter was helping him put on that squeeze.
She even sent in your gun this morning.
Please, Doreen, tell these men.
Well, the starting backfield. Hello, Candono.
Step aside, Novak.
You don't need that gun, Joe.
Not for long. All right. Push the girl out there. Push the girl out there.
For a gambler, these are bad odds, Joe.
Just keep talking loud, and when you stop, all of a sudden, you'll know I'm through with it.
You made the first switch, Joe.
I didn't trust you, so I sent Eddie Darrow up. He was a good guy, and I liked him.
I didn't kill him, Joe.
You made it easy, though. Say 'em fast, baby. Here it comes.
Look out, Doreen!
Watch the old man. Give me that gun.
Yeah. They keep shooting the wrong people around here.
I'm sorry, Hellman. I bungled, huh?
Yeah, you bungled, Joe. How's the old guy, Novak?
You should live so long, Hellman. He's dead.
You're gonna need me soon, huh, Hellman?
Yeah, right now. Come on, Joe. Tag by headquarters, Novak.
Sure.
Well, it was fun while it lasted.
Yeah.
I'm sorry he jumped in front of me. He didn't have to do it.
No, but you expected it.
I suppose. I'm made to expect things, Patsy.
Uh-huh. And you're not going to mind this.
I expected that, too. You can slap me, but don't leave me, Patsy. I don't want to be alone. You got a cigarette?
They're on the table.
I see. A match, Patsy?
You go build your own fire. I'm leaving.
Please, Patsy, I don't want to be alone.
You won't. I'll send you a whistle. Goodbye. Sweet double cross right from the start. Frank pitched the first curve. He stole the pictures from Candono's office the day of the payoff. He was going to wait for the dough from his sister and skip. In the meantime, the old man found out about it, killed the son and left him in the hotel after Candono's boys had cleared out. Oh, it would have worked out all right, but Doreen found the pictures in the old man's room and guessed what happened. She gave them back to Candono and then made a deal with him to put a squeeze on the old man. And then she double-crossed Candono by tipping off the old man that Candono was on his way up. I guess he figured the girl for a fast play and sent a pal instead. The old man didn't know the difference. He really thought he killed Candono. And then the girl wrapped it up by sending his gun to headquarters. Well, if things had gone right, she'd have been right in the middle of that gravy boat. Her brother and Candono would be dead. Her father would be up on a murder rap. Once it started to unravel, it moved real fast. The first tip-off I got was when she offered the dough for her brother's killer. She'd have all that dough, and on the books she'd look like a field of Vermont snow. She was feeling around between somebody's shoulder blades, and from then on, all the cards fell just right. Candono was probably right. If they're not in the cemetery, watch out. Well, Hellman had only one question. Why would a guy want to kill off a dame like that? After I saw the pictures, I wondered myself.
The Armed Forces Radio Service has just brought you Pat Novak For Hire, starring Jack Webb. Pat Novak is produced by William P. Russo. Jocko Madigan is played by Tudor Owen. Inspector Hellman is played by Raymond Burr. Music was composed and conducted by Basil Adlam. Be with us again next week when over most of these same stations we'll bring you Pat Novak For Hire.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers. First major tobacco company to bring you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. 14 women in your city have been robbed and beaten. You've got a half dozen descriptions of their attacker. None of them match. The man's still free. Your job, get him. Chesterfield's for me. You hear it everywhere. Tonight we hear from America's #1 band leader, Ray Anthony, who, with his attractive wife, Dee, plays college dates from coast to coast.
In cigarettes, the young crowd really goes for Chesterfields. I've noticed that wherever we've played. And I guess it's one of the reasons Chesterfield is America's most popular two-way cigarette. Of course, Dee and I are Chesterfield smokers, too. We know they're best for us.
Chesterfield's for me. You hear it everywhere. For the taste you want, the mildness you want, change to Chesterfield. They satisfy millions.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, November 26th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. My name's Friday. I was on my way back to the office, and it was 2:34 p.m. when I got to room 27A. Robbery.
Come on, Joe. Everybody's in the skipper's office.
All right. I tagged by R&I to pick up these packages.
Anything on them?
No, not much. We'll check them out, but they don't look like they're going anyplace.
Yeah, go ahead. Joe, Frank, you want to come over here?
Yes. Sorry we're late.
Don't worry about it. Let's get this thing on the road.
All right.
You want to settle down? Let's get started. The word's probably gotten to you about why we're here. It's on this purse snatching thing Friday and Smith have got. Things gotten way out of hand. Thief hit again the night before last. Victim's at the county hospital in a critical condition. She was pistol whipped, and it looks like she's got a fractured skull. It's only a matter of time before somebody's killed. That's the reason we're here, to see that it doesn't happen. They all got mimeographed MO sheets. On it, you'll find what information we've got. Some of it's pretty broad, but it's the best we've been able to come up with. Friday and Smith have handled the thing to here, so I'll let them give you the details. You want to tell them?
Yeah, right, Skipper. Well, first off, you'll notice on those MO sheets, all of the crimes have been listed in the order that they happened. Also the place and the time. There's also a description of the clothing the suspect wore, and when we could get it, a description of the suspect. Now, you'll notice that in most cases, there's quite a difference there on the physical description of the suspect. However, we've been able to put them all together, and we've come up with a composite drawing that should look something like the suspect. Well, one thing that's fairly constant is the description of the clothing worn by the suspect. It's almost always dark. Wears a hat, and he's been known to wear a top coat. Now, the hat and the coat are also dark material. Clear there, everybody? All right, now, take a look over here at the wall map. Now, we've pinpointed all the jobs so you can get a little better picture of the operation. Can you all see there?
Yeah.
All right. The first one took place at 73rd Street, just off Broadway, right here. The rest of the pins along here show the jobs that he made from there, all the way up to Jefferson. He's also worked Avalon Boulevard, Central Avenue, any street where there's a streetcar or a bus line, he's hit. He works between the hours of 5:30 and 11:30 p.m. The approach is almost always the same. Frank, you want to tell him about the victim?
Yeah. The victim will get off the streetcar usually, or the bus, whatever it is, and starts to walk home. As soon as the woman gets in the area that's not lighted well or that hasn't got much traffic, the guy walks up behind her and grabs him. After that, he tries to take her purse. If the victim offers any resistance, well, he usually slugs him. Because of the fact that two of the victims have seen a gun in his hand, we know he's armed, so the gun's been described as a revolver, too.
Mm-hmm. How about a car, Joe? Excuse me. Suspect drive one?
Car?
Yeah.
Well, we got to assume that, yeah. He's been seen a couple of times by people in the neighborhoods as he ran through their yards. It's pretty safe to figure that he's got a car parked on a side street somewhere. None of the victims have seen a car, however, but we know he leaves the area immediately.
Mm-hmm. No description of the vehicle, huh?
No, we've had a couple of calls, but they didn't check out. Now, the plan here is to use police women as decoys and try to bait him out into the open. That's the reason the women officers are here.
You figure to work the main arterials?
What was that?
You figure to work the main arterials?
Yeah, there'll be 2 officers assigned to follow each policewoman. Now, we've been able to obtain 10 in all. That'll mean that 20 officers will be assigned to them. The rest of you will be in the area somewhere. Now, one of the things to look for is any vehicle which closely follows a streetcar or a bus.
Yeah, what happened?
How about it? Any questions?
Yes, how are we going to get our assignments?
Well, the skipper here has a list, Lomi. All of the officers who are to work with a policewoman are noted. Now, the others are given the areas that they're supposed to patrol.
What about other calls coming in? Who's
What?
going to handle them?
I didn't hear you.
The other calls coming in, who's going to handle them?
Well, those officers not assigned to a policewoman. See, there'll be other units from the outlying areas on the operation, too. They'll lend us a hand. But remember this. Under no circumstances are those officers working with a decoy to leave her. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Don't leave the policewoman.
Right. Well, then we stick with the detail unless there's an emergency call.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, if we run into any problems, who do we call, Joe?
Well, we'll be in the area in 1K80. You can get in touch with us, Harry.
Mm-hmm.
How about it?
Well, if we pick up a suspect, should we get in touch with you?
Well, you can use your own judgment on that, George. If you think it's a routine pickup. Take him to robbery, and he'll be processed there.
All right.
Any more questions? Skipper, anything else?
We all know about the days off cancellation. Sorry it has to hit now, but that's the way it's got to be. No one will draw any time till this thing is cleaned up.
Right.
When Murphy, won't do any good to have your wife call me. You're still going to have to work. That's it. Operation will start tonight and go until the suspect's in custody. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Okay. So, say, wait a minute. Before you go, the worksheet's on the board outside. You can check it on the way out. You better do that. Right.
Is there anything else you need to carry it off?
No, it's all there, Skipper. The only thing we can use now is luck.
No reason for you to be different. Suspect's had his share.
Frank and I left the office and drove out to the area of the operation. The plan was that the policewomen would board the cars and buses and get off at the points where previous sluggings had not taken place. In the established MO of the suspect, it was noted that he never hit on any street more than once. At 4 p.m. that afternoon, all of the units were in place and the plan was started. During the night, several pickups were made, but no one was apprehended who resembled the suspect. Those people who were detained were processed and they were either booked or released. The following day, Thursday, November 27, Frank and I checked the reports filed by officers in the field. At 3 p.m., we stopped at a small restaurant and we had a plate of sliced turkey, cold gravy, and some lumpy mashed potatoes. We wished each other a happy Thanksgiving. We went back to Unit 1K80 and cruised the streets marked for surveillance. Another night went by without the suspect hitting. Saturday, November 29th, 11:30 p.m. Frank and I were driving down San Pedro Street at Vernon Avenue.
Looks like another one shot, huh?
Yeah, it's beginning to shape up that way, isn't it?
You figure the suspect knows about the operation? I mean, where we're working?
Well, you got as much as I have. Doesn't seem likely.
You got a cigarette? I'm out.
Yeah. There you go.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a light.
616,
Thanks.
27 North La Brea, traffic accident.
Faye was sure hacked about Thanksgiving.
Well, that figures.
No, it didn't make me too mad. She had the in-laws over.
Yeah.
Her brother. Huh. One thing about that guy, he can eat more than any 10 people. You know, I've had to sit there and just look at him, and everybody's through, and he's still going strong.
Yeah.
Nephew was over, too. You know little Sam? You've heard me talk about little Sam?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, little Sam. Kid's a monster. Only 10 years old, and he's a real monster. Faye's sister lets the kid do whatever comes into his mind. They say it isn't good to repress him.
What?
They say it isn't good to repress him. That's what they... You know, repress him.
Yeah.
I'd like to take him over. I'd repress him.
Yeah, I guess you'd do that real good, wouldn't you?
1K80, 1K80. Meet Unit 1K87 at the 300 block, East 51st Street, Code 2.
1K80, Roger. KMA 367. Let's go.
Yeah, that's one of the units assigned to a decoy. Think it's a good one?
Well, there's one way to find out, isn't there?
Yeah.
Ask him. South Park is located at the corner of San Pedro and 51st Street. One of the policewomen had gotten off a streetcar at the corner of Main Street and 51st. She'd walked east, and as she passed the park, a man had approached, blocked her progress, and demanded money. The man was pretty drunk, and when the officers following the woman arrived at the scene, he was struggling with a policewoman. He was taken into custody, and we were called. We took the man to room 27A, and from there to the interrogation room. Physically, he matched the description of the suspect as we'd gotten it from the victims. 12:15 a.m.
That's the dirtiest thing I ever heard of, pulling me in here like this.
All right, what's your name?
I don't think I'm going to tell you.
Let me see your wallet.
There's nothing in there. No juice.
Empty your pockets on the table.
Did you have a copy of the L.A. phone book?
Come on, mister,
around
empty
here?
your pockets, will you?
All right.
Come on, everything. How about your wallet?
Hey, young man. No juice.
Take the money out.
I told you there's no juice.
No money in the wallet?
No.
All right, how about it? This your true name, Victor Nathaniel Roberts?
You think I use an alias?
Now, don't be smart. Where do you live?
Well, I have no pad.
Where you been sleeping?
Wherever I can.
You got a job?
What?
Do you work?
No.
You ever hold a job?
Nope.
Never had a job?
Can't remember one.
What were you doing on 51st Street tonight?
Oh, I was just looking around.
At 11:30 at night?
The sun hurts my eyes.
All right.
I was just walking along the street when this young woman stopped me.
She stopped you.
She tried to pick me up.
That girl was a policewoman.
You're telling me.
Now, what were you doing out there?
I'm never going there again.
Ever been arrested?
I am now.
Before?
I'll tell you the truth.
Yeah, you do that.
I have.
Where?
Oh, all around.
What were you arrested for?
Bag.
Have you done time in California? Come on, have you done time in California? Have you?
Yes.
I'll check the record, Joe. All right.
Is he going to look me up?
What's that?
I say, is he going to look me up?
He's going to check your record, yeah.
Officer, you mind a little constructive criticism?
Now, you listen, mister. Your funny time's running out here.
You must feel a little sneaky about this whole thing, don't you?
What's that?
I mean this whole business about the policewoman. Don't you think that that's going too far?
How long you been in Los Angeles?
Oh, sometime this year.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, checked in about a year.
What?
I said I checked in about a year.
A year ago, you mean?
Yeah, about a year ago.
Well, if you haven't got a job, how do you manage to live?
Haven't got a little drink, have you?
Joe. Yeah.
See you a minute.
Fine. You sit still. What do you got?
Checked R&I. Got the word on Roberts.
Yeah, what about him?
Been tagged 67 times for drunk.
All in L.A.?
Total's 92. Doesn't look like he's our man, though.
Why?
Well, he's been in Camarillo for the last 3 months.
We put in a call to the superintendent at the state hospital up at Camarillo. He told us that Victor Roberts had only been released 10 days before. He'd spent 3 months undergoing treatment for alcoholism. The suspect we were looking for had been working for the past 2 months. Roberts was booked in at the main jail on the charge of violation of Section 4127A LAMC. During the time we'd been working on the case, all known purse snatchers had been picked up and interrogated. Runs by the stats office had been made, and the names they gave us had been checked out. Locals and APBs were gotten out, carrying the description and the M.O. of the suspect. The leads that came in were followed up without result. Informants were questioned, and George Brereton up at CII in Sacramento furnished us a list of possibles. All in all, over 100 people had been questioned. In the course of the investigation, several other cases were cleared, but our prime suspect was still free. Meantime, the operation continued. Each night at 4:30 p.m., 10 policewomen would board streetcars and buses in the area. 10 police cars carrying 20 officers would follow them. In the immediate vicinity, another 40 men were patrolling the streets and alleys looking for the thief. As a result of the newspaper stories on the string of crimes, calls were coming into the complaint board at such a rate that they were jamming our normal facilities. Women refused to walk the streets alone after dark. Apparently, the thief could come and go as he pleased. In the next 2 days, he hit 3 times, but in areas that were not covered. He began to hit in places he hadn't worked before. He seemed to know where we were and that we were using decoys. The search went on. Tuesday, December 2nd, we got a call from the manager of a cheap hotel in the Skid Row area. We drove out to see her.
Right down this way. He's not in.
Well, just what is it you want us to see?
You wait. When you get a good look, you'll know.
Yes, ma'am.
Here we are. I'll get the door. You just come on in.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Over here. I was cleaning up this morning. My girl's sick. Had to do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
And just cleaning up, and I found them over here in the closet.
Yeah.
Up on the shelf. Can you see them up there? Way back?
Wait a minute. I have to get a chair.
Well, I was just straightening up, and I saw them, and I thought to myself, I ought to call the police, get them right out here. That's what I thought to myself.
Yes, ma'am.
I always feel it's the duty of every citizen to cooperate with the police.
Yes, ma'am. Next flashlight, please.
Huh?
Flashlight.
Oh, yeah. Here you go.
Well, do you see them up there on the shelf?
Yes, ma'am. Frank?
Yeah?
There's something down there I can pick them up with? Yeah.
Well, you'll find out anyway. You don't have to worry about fingerprints. I guess I shouldn't have done it. But when I found them, I picked them up, but I put them right back, right where I found them.
Here you are.
Okay.
What you got?
two women's purses.
Mm-hmm. True. Look inside of them. All kinds of cards and things. No money, but all kinds of other stuff. You just look.
Who has this room?
You mean registered?
Yeah.
Well, he gave his name as Jerry Kilgallen. You asked me, though. I think it's phony.
He take the room alone, did he?
Oh, absolutely. This is a hotel for men. Don't allow no women in.
Is it possible that somebody else left these purses up there?
Hardly. These rooms are cleaned every day, cleaned thoroughly. I don't miss anything.
Yes, ma'am.
How about the identification in them, Joe?
No, I don't recognize the names. We'll have to check them. Take a look at this, though. No, here, on the lining of the purse. This one.
Oh, yeah. I better get it to the lab, huh?
What is it? You find something?
We're not sure.
Well, what is it? I called you. I got a right to know. What is it?
It looks like blood stains.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Tobacco has been one of man's basic pleasures for over 400 years. And the Chesterfields you smoke today are the best cigarettes ever made. When I say that, I mean Chesterfield regular, I mean Chesterfield king size. Remember, Chesterfield is the cigarette that is tested and approved by 30 years of scientific tobacco research. The cigarette that gives you proof of highest quality. Yes, friends, the Chesterfields you smoke today are the best cigarettes ever made. For the taste you want, the mildness you want, change to Chesterfield. They satisfy millions.
We got a complete description of Jerry Kilgallen, and Frank called it into R&I. We found no record on him under that name. The purse was sent to Lieutenant Lee Jones at the crime lab, and after running a precipitate test, he told us that the stains were human blood. A stakeout was placed on the hotel, and that night, Kilgallen was taken into custody. Under interrogation, he admitted taking the purses from two women in a department store in downtown Los Angeles. He went on to explain that he'd just gotten into town and that he was broke and hungry. He gave us the date and the times of the thefts, and when we called the victims, they were able to give us positive identifications. He told us that when he'd taken the second purse, he'd cut his hand on the clasp, and that the bloodstains we found were his own. He was booked in at the main jail on the charge of suspicion of robbery. That night, Frank and I took up our place in the Dragnet operation. Nothing happened. The next night went by without activity. On Thursday night, at approximately 8:45, a woman was slugged and robbed after she left the bus on 71st Street just off Vermont. All cars in the operation converged on the area, and a block-by-block search was made. Additional officers were called in to aid in the hunt. Every alley, every street, and every backyard was gone over thoroughly. 11:15 p.m. While the search continued, Frank and I drove down to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital to talk to the latest victim.
I was on my way home. I didn't think anything like this would happen. I was just walking home.
Can you give us a description of the man?
I don't know. It was dark. I was just walking home and it happened.
Did you see the man at all?
Yes. It was dark.
Was he a tall man?
I guess so. I guess he was tall. I talked to the other men. Isn't that enough? I talked to them.
Well, we're trying to get all the information we can.
I don't remember good. My head hurts. Isn't there something they can do to make my head stop hurting?
Did you see the man's face? Did you get a look at it?
Yeah, yes, I did. I saw his face.
Can you describe it for us? Can you tell us what he looked like?
I don't know. I don't feel good.
Well, this is pretty important, ma'am.
He had a real white face. Real white.
What about his eyes? Can you tell us what color they were?
Blue. Watery. Blue.
How about his hair?
It looked brown. I'm not sure. I think it was brown. He had a hat on. I couldn't tell good.
All right, just a few more questions now.
Yeah.
Can you tell what color his hat was?
I don't know. My head hurts. Can't you do something?
We'll send for the doctor again. He might be able to give you another sedative.
Hurts.
There's something else, ma'am. Was the man clean-shaven?
Huh?
I say, did he have a mustache?
No. No mustache.
Does he wear glasses?
No.
Is there anything else you can tell us about his appearance?
No. Nothing. He had a gun. I know that. He had a gun. That's what he hit me with. Gun. He hit me when I wouldn't give him the purse. First he asked me for the money. I told him to get out of my way. He said he'd kill me.
And he hit me on the head. Hit me as hard as he could.
All right, ma'am. Now, is there anything else you can tell us that might make it easier to identify him?
No, nothing. I told you everything I know. Nothing else.
All right, we're sorry to have bothered you. Thank you. We'll be talking with you again when you're feeling better.
Yeah. You come back then. I'll try to remember then.
Thank you very much for your help.
It's all right. You ask the doctor to come back, won't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Officer,
Yes, ma'am?
something else might help a little bit.
What's that, ma'am?
Before he hit me, I remember there was a fight. I didn't want him to take my purse. There was a fight.
Yeah.
I tried to stop him, and I scratched him. Scratched him hard. See, I broke a fingernail when I did it. That'll help, won't it?
Yes, ma'am.
It should. Last thing I remember before he hit me, he was bleeding a lot.
Where did you scratch him, ma'am? Do you remember? On the hand?
No, right across the face. Left side.
We got to a phone and we had a broadcast put out carrying the additional information on the man and the fact that he had been badly scratched. Officers in the immediate area of the attack started a check of all the drugstores that were open in the hope that the thief had stopped for medication. After getting the call out, Frank and I left the hospital and started back to search the area. 11:46 p.m.
You talked to the doctor about the victim?
Yeah, she's in pretty bad shape. They're going to move her to General. Sebastian says he might have to operate.
Be glad to get this guy.
Yeah.
Attention all units. Attention all units.
You want to turn it up, Joe?
All units on frequency 7, please stand by. All units in the vicinity of the 100 block on West 29th Street. Officer needs help. Special attention, 1K80, code 3.
Lean on it. Right.
All units in the vicinity of the 100 block on West 29th Street. Officer needs help. Special attention, 1K80, code 3. Frequency 7, clear.
I'll call in. 1K80 to Control 1. Acknowledging the call to the 100 block on West 29th Street. KMA 367. It took us 2.5 minutes to get to the location. At the curb on the side of the street, we saw a parked police unit. Standing next to it was a woman officer. We pulled up next to the unit and talked to her. She told us that our suspect had tried to attack her, and on the arrival of the two officers had fled the scene. At that moment, Officers Sluter and Murphy were in pursuit. While Frank got additional information from the policewoman, I went back to the car and got on the radio. 1K80 to Control 1. 1K80 to Control 1.
Control 1 to 1K80. Go ahead.
Suspect is now on foot being pursued by two plainclothes officers through backyards in the area of West 100 block between 29th Street and 30th Street. Dispatch units to block intersections of Broadway and 29th Street, Broadway and 30th, Broadway and 28th Street, Broadway and 27th, intersections of Main and 28th, Main and 29th, Main and 30th Streets, Main and 27th Street.
Control 1 to 1K80. Roger. KMA 367.
I got the story. You set?
Yeah, let's go.
Policewoman says they're headed west. Through the back of the house down there.
All right, let's move.
Attention all units. Attention all units. 1K80.
Policewoman says suspect ducked into a driveway. That one right up there.
All right, take it easy.
Right.
West 29th Street. Now being pursued.
Looks like we got a live one this time, huh?
Well, let's hope we can keep him.
In the backyard
pull up here.
between 100 block 29th Street and 100 block West 30th Street. 1K82.
Flashlight's over there, Joe.
Let's take a look.
You see who it is?
No. Ducked back behind the garage. Come on. Sluter, what do you got?
He's back there. Murphy's with him.
You guys all right?
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look.
You want to call an ambulance, Frank?
Right.
How is he?
Well, you better stop Frank.
Yeah.
Tell him to cancel that ambulance.
He opened up first, Joe. Murph and I gave him every chance.
Well, that's more than he gave those women.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On December 8th, an inquest was held in the offices of the coroner in and for the county of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that inquest.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Earlier, George Fenneman told you exactly why the Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. And best for you. Now, the rest is up to you. Get a carton or two for yourself. Smoke them and you'll say as we do, it's Chesterfield's for me.
At the inquest, the coroner's jury returned a verdict that the suspect, Kenneth Neal Stewart, died as a result of gunshot wounds inflicted by police officers in the line of duty. The death was listed as justifiable homicide. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Vic Perrin, Vivi Janis, Herb Ellis. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely different Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Filter cigarette smokers, here is headline news. Nationwide demand for L&M filters drops price. Now you save up to 4 cents a pack, 40 cents a carton. Now everyone can afford America's highest quality and best filter tip cigarette. Remember, only L&M's have the miracle filter tip containing alpha cellulose. You get much more flavor, much less nicotine. Buy L&M filters, the distinctive monogram cigarette at the new low price. L&M filters.
Hear Crime and Peter Chambers following John Cameron Swayze on the NBC Radio Network.
My name's Jeff Regan. I'm the Lion's Eye, his private eye. I work for Anthony J. Lyon, head of the International Detective Bureau. He doesn't care where the money comes from, just so long as it comes to him. He cashes in on trouble, and for him it pays off. For me, it's work.
Here's the kind of adventure you've been waiting to hear. Hard-boiled action and mystery with radio's most exciting private detective, Jeff Regan. So stand by for trouble and suspense in tonight's story of The Prodigal Daughter. And now, here's Jack Webb as Jeff Regan.
Well, this is the way it started. Melody was sitting in the outer office wearing her horn-rimmed glasses. That told me that the client was in with a lion. I smiled at her, and she blinked back, rolled her eyes toward the lion's den.
He's polite today.
Yeah, I know. On the phone, I was Jeffrey.
No.
Yeah?
Why do you stand for it?
I wish I knew, Melody. Buzz me in, will you?
Yes, Melody.
Mr. Regan, do you know, Mr. Lyon?
Oh, well, send him in. Send him in. We're waiting.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Ah, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, my boy. My boy, come in, come in. There's someone here I want you to meet. Now then, Jeffrey. Mr. Carter, this is Mr. Jeffrey Regan, one of my very best men. Jeffrey, this is Mr. Daniel Carter.
How do you do?
How do you do, Mr. Regan? Mr. Lyon has assured me that you're a discreet young man.
Well,
Full of discreetness, Mr. Carter. International Detective Bureau is ethically bound to employ sympathetic, understanding personnel, as well as alert, productive operators.
I hope that's true, Mr. Lyon. In my publishing business, I never had the occasion to settle my trust on any one person.
Very delicate situation, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead, Mr. Carter. Everything said in this room is in the strictest confidence.
Well, I want you to know that it wasn't easy for me to come here. It's admitting defeat in a way. Patrice is my daughter. 5 years ago, she walked out. Oh, I can understand in a way. When her mother died, I started sending her away to schools. I was no companion for her.
Well, have you heard from her at all? Do you know where she is?
I've never heard from her, Mr. Regan, since she left. I don't know where she is. But I want her back, Mr. Regan.
I can see how you feel.
International is in business to make people happy.
Now, I've offered Mr. Lyon a $2,000 fee if he can find my daughter.
$2,000. That figures.
Now, you can trust International to find your daughter and bring her back.
Well, then I guess that's all, Mr. Regan. I'll go now. You'll let me know as soon as you find anything?
Of course, of course.
Then good day, gentlemen.
Trust International, Mr. Carter. Good day. Here's your ticket. You leave on the Sunset Limited at 1:45 today.
I do?
You're going to New Orleans to pick up that dame and bring her back. She was 19 when she left home, and any dame who's 19 has a boyfriend next door. I found out that much in 2 phone calls. The boyfriend hasn't heard from her in over a year. But that means she's got another boyfriend down there. Here's the New Orleans address.
You knew all this?
Here's a picture of her. She's just been staying away from the old man. This is going to be a nice piece of change. $2,000 for bringing her back. Plus expenses.
How do you know she'll come back with me? She walked out all alone. That means she wants to be all alone.
Maybe we could make another 1,000 if some nosy newspaper guy just happens to get tipped and wants money to keep quiet.
Oh, you're crawling with ethics, aren't you?
Melody will give you some traveler's checks.
Sympathetic, understanding.
Better pack some things before you miss your train.
Just in business to make people happy.
I want to be happy, too. Beat it. Call me.
Them cotton boys, here's just one thing I'll figure out.
They serve the most delicious oysters, and Charlie had to go racing.
2 days later in New Orleans at the Roosevelt Hotel, home of the original Ramus Gin Fizz, I figured it would take a lot of fizz to pull away that southern heat, but everybody in the lobby seemed cool enough in linens, tropicals, and seersuckers, except me and a big perspiring man leaning against the CNS ticket counter. He smiled when he saw me and came across the lobby holding out his hand.
Well, I'm really glad to see you. We thought you'd never get here. Nice trip?
It was all right.
Say, the rest of the boys are headquartered in E10. They're mighty anxious to meet you.
They are?
Mighty anxious. Delta Cotton Growers are going to make it or break it at this convention. Now, I want to...
He was talking real sincere and bent over to make a gesture. The accent was phony, but the bulge inside his double-breasted gabardine coat was real enough. It was a .38 automatic.
I say, I'll take you up right now.
Why don't I meet you up there later, huh?
Well, all right, if you'd rather. That's room 810. I'll go out and get a bite and meet you.
You do that. About an hour. Clerk.
Yes, Mr. Regan?
How long have the Delta Cotton Growers been in town?
Delta Cotton Growers?
Uh-huh.
Why, they had their convention last May.
Last May?
Yes, sir.
Who's registered in room 810?
Well, we have no 810, Mr. Regan.
That's what I thought. Thanks. What do you do with a big man, a phony accent, .38 automatic, and no Delta Cotton Growers convention? You tell me. 2 hours later, in a fresh shirt and a wrinkled suit, I was still working on that one as I climbed the stairs to the Ursuline Street address where Patrice Carter lived. It was one of those dirty, unpainted apartment houses in the French Quarter, full of heat and low-watt light bulbs. The girl who opened the door was tall, black-haired, wore a black dress. The picture Lion had given me of Patrice Carter was a blonde.
Yes?
My name's Regan. I wonder if I could see Patrice Carter. Huh?
Patrice, you're a friend of hers?
Yeah, I'm from Los Angeles.
How do you do, Mr. Regan? I'm Janice King, Patrice's roommate. Please come in.
All right.
Right this way.
Maybe it was because the two big rooms I followed her through were dimly lit, or maybe it was the sweet, sick smell of flowers. I don't know, but perspiration began to trickle down my back, and I braced myself when Janice King opened another door.
Here you are, Mr. Regan.
She was young and lovely and blonde, with a burning candle, very dead. Patrice Carter. I just stood there in that dark room, and I looked down at her. I think there were other people in the room feeling the same as me and thinking the same thoughts. I must have stayed that way for 5 minutes. And then I felt Janice King touch my arm.
Did you know Patrice very long?
No, I didn't.
She asked to have it this way. I know how you must feel being a friend, Mr. Regan.
Look, Miss King, I didn't know her at all, and I didn't know that she was passed away. I'm a private investigator. I was hired by Daniel Carter to locate his daughter.
Daniel Carter?
You knew that she had a father.
Yes, Mr. Regan, I knew. She told me about him. She told me everything. Oh, you aren't the first one who's been here looking for her. There have been others. Detectives and lawyers trying to get her to go back.
Carter knew she was here?
If he'd loved her for just one unselfish moment, she'd never have left him. Well, Mr. Regan, she's where he can't bother her anymore. She's where he can't ever see her. Tell him that when you go back. Tell him she's going to be buried tomorrow. Tell him he can stop hiring lawyers and detectives to find her. Why don't you take him a copy of her death certificate? That ought to satisfy him. Now get out! Get out!
Well, the whole thing had looked too easy right from the beginning. I took her advice and I went down to the morgue to get the dope on Patrice Carter's death. There was one white coat there, a little man with a bald head who introduced himself as Oliver Fig.
So you're from Los Angeles. So how are things in Los Angeles? What'd you say your name was?
Regan, International Detective Bureau. Came here to locate a girl named Patrice Carter. I just came from her apartment.
Mm-hmm. And she's dead.
Yeah, I know. How?
Might have wiggled herself to death. Did a dandy strip number at Joe Glorioso's joint.
Stripper?
Yeah, you got him in Los Angeles, ain't you? Seen that Carter dame lots of times. Great!
Well, I thought maybe you could give me a copy of the death certificate. I got to take something back with me.
Sure. Glad to do it. Oh, she was a real girl. Shame, dirty shame. So how's things in Los Angeles? And let's see. Blanky. No, not the same guy. Blacker. Homicide? They fished him out of the river. Mississippi mud. Get it?
Got it.
So, how are things in Los Angeles? Here you are. Carter. Patrice Carter. 731 Ursuline. Mm-hmm. Coroner's report referred to Dr. Emmett Swarzy. Here you are. Dame died 3 days ago of leukemia.
Let me see that.
Sure.
Leukemia? Then she knew.
Sure. You get tipped plenty in advance on leukemia. Any doctor will tell you almost to the day.
Nothing else?
I mean, was there something fishy about it? Nah, all kosher. So how's things in Los Angeles?
Any relatives?
None listed.
Well, that's it, I guess. Can I have a copy of it?
Sure. Take that one. We got plenty more. Lots of people want death certificates for legal reasons. I once knew a guy who saved them like cigar bands or stamps. One whole wall of his bedroom papered with nothing but death certificates. Imagine, all homicides. So how's things in Los Angeles?
Yeah, this is fine, Oliver.
See you around. Glad to hear things are better in Los Angeles.
Wasn't anything more to do after that but go back to the hotel and try to get a reservation out of town. When I asked for my key, the clerk passed me 3 printed messages telling me that a Mr. Lyon of Los Angeles had been calling. When I got to my room, he called again.
Regan, is that you? Where you been?
Keep your shirt on.
Come on, tell me. Did you see her?
Yeah, I saw her.
What'd you say? She's gonna play ball? How soon are you coming back?
She didn't say anything, and we aren't coming back.
What do you mean?
She's dead.
What?
DEAD, dead.
She can't do that.
It happened 3 days ago. Leukemia.
Now, wait a minute. Old man Carter's paying us $2,000 to bring her back.
They're going to bury her tomorrow morning, and they don't want any interference. She was laid out. Her roommate laced me up and down for working for the old man. Name of Janice King, good-looking brunette.
I told Carter we'd bring back his daughter, and we will. There's $2,000 in this, and you know how I feel about money.
Yeah, I know.
So get busy.
Now, look. I've done a lot of dirty, rotten things for you, but he's an old man, and he's sick, and I'm...
And he doesn't wear dark glasses because it's a sunny day. He's almost blind. Now go on over and get that roommate and bring her back. He'd never know the difference.
I won't do it.
Offer her $500 to come here and pose as Patrice Carter for a week. And she could take a powder.
I won't do it.
I'm calling Carter first thing in the morning and telling him you found his daughter and that you're on your way back to Los Angeles.
I won't do it.
Honey, let me take you away from all this. Come on, let's not argue anymore.
It was in the French Quarter. They served a thing called a Sazerac and promised a very good floor show at 1 o'clock. I sat there watching the piano player and feeling kind of sorry for myself. I figured I had more trouble than anybody else, so I had 3 for Regan. It was about then a tall redhead with a long cigarette holder eased off her stool at the other end of the bar, patted a bald-headed guy on the head, and came over my way. She gave me time enough to get a whiff of her perfume and then leaned into me.
Jane?
Mm-hmm.
Me too. I'm the new headliner. I'm going to dance pretty soon. You ain't antisocial, are you, mister?
No, Red. I'm just lonesome for home.
Where's that?
Los Angeles.
Hey, that's a good time.
And what are you doing here?
Work. I'm the new stripper.
Oh, yeah, you told me.
That's a tough racket. Pick 'em up and put 'em down, put 'em on, take 'em off. 10 years now.
Is that right? How about drink?
No, never when I'm working. Later, maybe?
Maybe.
Are you sure you ain't antisocial? I look all right, don't I? I mean, I ain't slipping.
Come here.
Let go.
No hard feelings, Red. I just want to see your face.
You're crazy or something?
Come on, stand still now in the light.
What's the matter? Something wrong with me?
No, not a thing, baby. You're just fine. How long did you say you've been dancing?
I've been dancing 10 years. Let go.
Oh, hold still. That makeup. You wear it all the time?
That's doing my business.
All right.
Let me scared there for a minute. You oughtn't to grab hold of a girl like that.
Red, you mind if I ask you a personal question?
Well, now, wait a minute. I just met you.
No, it's about your face.
What's the matter with my face?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh. Oh, sure, go ahead.
That grease paint and makeup. Using it heavy like that for a long time, it's hard to get off, huh?
Oh, can't ever get all of it off, mister. When you've been in the business as long as I have, always got to have some of it on.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Is that what you wanted to ask me?
That's it.
Well, you can get more personal than that. You're a screwy, but I like you.
Not like you, Red. Thanks.
Hey, where you going? What about the drink? That's my number.
Rain check me, Red. I got things to do. I had to go back to Janice King's apartment. It was a sticky, sick kind of New Orleans night. From one lighted street, I turned off on Ursuline, a darker, dirtier street. I stopped, right in the middle of the block. All kinds of people had followed me at one time or another, and I followed all kinds of people. But this had a professional feel to it. Stood there, listening, remembering my automatic and my suitcase back at the hotel. It only took him a second. He was a professional, all right. All I could see was well-pressed gabardine, 2 arms, and a hand-painted tie. The next thing was a gun butt carefully wrapped in a white linen handkerchief. Settled slowly against the side of my head. One of the well-pressed arms reached over and held me under the shoulders. I yelled at the top of my lungs, but there wasn't any noise. Regan of International was out as cold as a can of beer.
We'll return to Jeff Regan, Investigator, in just a moment. An easy way to save for future security is by a payroll deduction for savings bonds. Or if you're not paid on a salary basis, you can purchase savings bonds at your nearest post office, bank, or Savings and Loan Association office. Now is the time to ask your employer to start deducting for savings bonds or to buy a bond on your own. If no other plan is feasible, your bank will deduct enough each month from your savings or checking account to buy a savings bond. For money in the future, buy United States savings bonds. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to the story of the Prodigal Daughter and Jeff Regan, Investigator.
I declare you amaze me. When you look at that, isn't that all fun? Him all dressed up like
We won't pay any attention to him, honey.
The next thing I knew, a man in a straw hat and a polo shirt was kneeling down beside me, carefully smelling my breath.
Easy now, buddy, easy. You've been making whoopee. Yep, that Sazerac will do it every time.
Ooh.
You know, you folks visiting down here ought to be more careful. Get your suit all dirty?
It hit me on the side of the head.
Sometimes the side of the head, sometimes the back. No difference at all. Always wind up in the same place, on the street somewhere. Had enough for the night?
Yeah, plenty.
I'll take you to your hotel.
Huh?
That's my cab. I nearly ran over you. Your first trip?
Yeah.
Well, you know better next time. Easy now.
Did you see my friend? Big man, gabardine suit.
See nobody. Want to look for him?
Later.
See, what you hunting for?
My wallet.
Somebody take it?
No, nothing's missing. Everything's right here.
Honest town.
Oh, yeah, you're so right.
Well, you feel better when you get back to your place.
Yeah, sure. It wasn't quite right. I didn't feel better until the next morning when I got a telegram and read, "Found out Carter's broke. Come back. Forget the whole thing. Lion." And that was the first good news I'd had in 3 days.
Oh, it's you. What are you doing here? She's buried, gone.
Yeah, I know. I came back to see you.
Wait a minute. You can't come in here.
I just did.
What do you want now?
You. Yes, you. I was hired to come to New Orleans and bring Patrice Carter back to Los Angeles.
She's dead and buried, and you know it.
That's what you say. That's what a death certificate says. There's only one thing I learned lately. Don't believe what people say. Don't believe what death certificates say.
I don't know what you're trying to do, but
Oh, stop it, will you? I know you're Patrice Carter, and I know the girl who was buried yesterday was the real Janice King. And I know somebody's trying to make a monkey out of you and a monkey out of me. Now listen to me. If I have to, I can have that body exhumed. I can go into fingerprints and birthmarks, and a lot of things, but I don't think I'll have to. You see, Patrice Carter wasn't the type to do a striptease for a living.
You're just trying to make something out of nothing. I'll call the police and have them arrested.
Last night, I ran into the redhead who took her place. She told me what a tough life it is. 10 years of wearing grease paint can be kind of rough on your skin. The dead girl I saw had those kind of marks. The girl I'm looking for couldn't have been in the business that long.
Why don't you leave me alone?
I don't know who talked you into a thing like this, but it's all wrong. He's an old man now. He's broke and lonely, and he wants to see you. I don't know what your differences are, but I want to take you back. Well, what do you say?
He was so off. He hated. I know he did. I never want to see him again.
What's he been telling you?
Tim. Oh, Tim, he knows everything.
He doesn't know anything. He'll never know anything. This your boyfriend? He had a phony accent when he tried to shake me down in the hotel lobby. Get out of here, Regan. I played ball, and you had to quit trying. It all fits now. This guy's been holding your hand for the last year. He's been real sympathetic.
Get out before I throw you out.
He told you how to trade names with that poor kid who was dying of leukemia. He told you to send me to that morgue for a death certificate. And he dropped me in the gutter last night to make sure I had it. You know why?
Don't listen to this character. Baby's off his nut.
He's a private detective from Los Angeles who's been getting paid to make love to you.
No.
Regan, I told you to shut up.
Oh, he was good at the side street work, but this was an apartment. He didn't have enough room to move fast. I let him have the top of my head under his chin for a starter. And then I took a lot of feet in my face, but when he started across the carpet pulling for that 38, I saw my chance. She stood there and watched him go down.
It's not true. It's not true. You're just here to make more trouble for me. You're just here to make
Am I? I thought I recognized the touch. Here. Here's his wallet. Look for yourself. Here, catch. Timothy Conover, Private Investigations. Well? Come on, kid. I'll take you back home.
You're back. How was New Orleans? I didn't know you had someone with you.
I'll see you later, Melody. The lion in?
Yes, but I wouldn't go in. He's in a bad mood.
Uh-huh. What else? Come on, Pat.
Regan! So you finally got back, did you? I suppose you've run an expense account that took a horse. Let me tell you that it's all coming out of your salary. We didn't make a nickel on that Carter thing, and who's this?
Patrice Carter.
How do you do, Mr. Lyon?
I thought I told you to leave her down there, because that old schmo was giving us the runaround and hasn't got a nickel to his name. Besides, she's dead. Yeah, she's dead.
That's right. Here's a death certificate to prove it. Now listen to me before you blow the rest of your cylinders. I went to a lot of trouble to bring this girl here.
Well, you can send her back where she came from, and I'll take her fare out of your salary.
On the train coming back, Mr. Regan explained a great many things to me about myself and about you, Mr. Lyon.
Well, I wish you'd explain something to me.
When I was a baby, my father placed a trust in a large holding company under my name. $50,000. And I can claim it any time after my 21st birthday.
Yeah? How old are you now?
Old enough. Mr. Regan found out that much.
I made a phone call to Dun and Bradstreet, know a lot of things.
Go on.
Nothing more, Mr. Lyon, except I claimed that trust today. And I'll be glad to pay you the $2,000 fee that my father promised you.
Well, now, that's very generous of you, Miss Carter. The International Detective Bureau is proud to have had a small part in bringing you and your estranged father together.
I'm not going back to him, Mr. Lyon. I don't want to see you.
No, my dear, you're upset.
Leave her alone, Lyon. Now, look. I tussled with a private detective named Conover down in New Orleans. He'd been hired by old man Carter to convince Pat that she should switch names with a burlesque girl who was dying of leukemia. Conover does a good job. When the girl dies, Conover wires Carter. Carter comes to you, you call me in and hustle me off to New Orleans, where, according to a perfect setup, I find a phony Patrice Carter dead. I bring back a death certificate, which you turn over to Carter, and then he walks right down and collects that trust fund, which reverts to the original maker only on death.
And him with that story about being old and lonely and wanting only to see his daughter. Telling me he'd pay me a $2,000 fee. Why, that dirty crook, he's no better than I am. He tried to make a sucker out of me.
He did. You fell for the whole thing.
Trust fund in your name. Well, young lady, you can sit right down here at my desk and make out your check. And then I think that as long as you're in town, you might just drop over and see your old father. International Detective Bureau is in business to make people happy. And
that's all.
You can pay.
Did everything come out all right?
Yeah, I guess so. She's writing a check. That's what he wants. Cigarette?
Yes.
Thank you.
Why do you do it, Jeff?
Hot in here, isn't it? The air feels good. Makes you clean. He doesn't care whether it's homicide or arson or a lost daughter or just people getting kicked around. He makes money on it. I help him.
You didn't answer me. Why do you do it?
I don't know, Melody. I don't know.
Remember, an easy way to save for the future is to buy United States savings bonds. You can buy bonds at your nearest post office, bank, or savings and loan association, or you can ask your employer to start deducting for a bond a month on the payroll savings plan. A bond a month is good security for the years to come. For money in the future, buy United States savings bonds now. You'll be glad you did. Jack Webb is featured as Jeff Regan, Investigator, with Wilms Herbert as Anthony J. Lyon and Laurette Phil Brandt as Melody. Tonight's cast included Betty Lou Gerson as Red, Lou Krugman as Conover, Theodore Von Eltz as Mr. Daniel Carter, Eve McVeigh as Patrice Carter, and Harry Lang as... How's things in Los Angeles? Remember, it's CBS same time next week for hard-boiled action and mystery with radio's most exciting private detective, Jeff Regan, as he tells the story of the Lonesome Lady. Jeff Regan, Investigator, is written by E. Jack Newman, produced and directed by Gordon T. Hughes, with original music by Del Castillo. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers, first major tobacco company to bring you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to Forgery Division, shoplifting detail. An organized gang of thieves has started operating in your city. In spite of the precautions taken, the thieves are still working. Your job? Stop them. Today's Chesterfield is the best cigarette ever made. It's the cigarette tested and approved by 30 years of scientific tobacco research. The cigarette proved highest in quality, low in nicotine, best for you. Chesterfield gives you the taste you want, the mildness you want, a really refreshing smoke every time. It all adds up to Chesterfield's world-famous slogan, they satisfy. Buy Chesterfield today, regular or king size. Just light up, relax, and enjoy America's most popular two-way cigarette. Chesterfield. They satisfy millions.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, September 20th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of Forgery Division, shoplift detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief Detective Thad Brown. My name's Friday. We were on our way out from the office, and it was 9:45 a.m. when we got to the 8th floor of the Whitfield department store. Security office.
Yes, sir. Can I help you?
We'd like to see Mr. Dunlop. I believe he's expecting us.
Your name?
Joe Friday.
Oh, yes. You want to go right in?
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
This door here?
Yes, go right in.
Come on in.
Hi, Jerry. You know Frank, don't you?
Sure, how's it going?
Hi, Jerry.
You boys want to sit down?
Thank you.
I'll have the girls sent up.
Okay.
Yes, sir?
You want to have Miss Evans sent up, please?
Miss Evans, yes, sir.
I'd like to ask you guys a favor.
What's that, Jerry?
Poor kid thinks this whole thing is her fault. I'd appreciate it if you could take it easy on her.
Well, we'll do our best.
Sure.
What'd they get away with this time?
Oh, here's a list.
Thank you.
Here's a copy for you, Frank.
Oh, thanks. You got any idea when they were in?
Hard to tell for sure. We're open Friday night, and then Saturday's a pretty rough day. It wasn't until after closing we found it. I figured they either moved in late Friday night or early Saturday morning.
Miss Evans' girl discovered the theft, did she?
No, she didn't know anything about it. The stock clerk found it. He was running through the inventory to replace the coats and suits. Noticed there were several that couldn't be accounted for. He called me.
Mm-hmm.
Evans' girl's in the department. I talked to her this morning. It looks like she waited on the pair.
She able to come up with any kind of description?
Yeah, I think she'll be able to help us. Oh, excuse me. Yes?
Miss Evans is here.
Oh, send her in, please.
Yes, sir.
Come in.
You wanted to see me, Mr. Dunlap?
Yes, would you come in, please?
Yes, sir.
Oh, Miss Evans, this is Sergeant Friday and Officer Smith. They're from the police department.
How do you do, miss?
Hello. I don't know why you want to see me, Mr. Dunlap. I told you I didn't know anything about them. I told you. You've got to believe me. I didn't have anything to do with them. I never saw them before.
Now, you just sit down, Miss Evans.
Thank you.
Now, the officers are here to just talk to you. They want to ask you a couple of questions. There's nothing wrong.
And I'm not going to lose my job?
No.
Really? You're not going to fire me?
We never even considered it.
I don't know how to thank you. My first job, and to have a thing like this happen. I sure appreciate it. Anything you want to know, I'll tell you. You just ask, I'll tell you.
All right, Miss Evans. Have you any idea who might have stolen the merchandise?
Oh, didn't you tell them what I said, Mr. Dunlap?
Well, I thought it would be better if they heard it from you.
Oh, I see. Well, I think I know who they were. I've tried to remember all the people I waited on, everyone. There's only two that stand out, like they were different.
How do you mean different, miss?
Well, they didn't seem like the other customers. You know, like they really wanted to buy something.
Yeah.
They just wanted to look around. I could tell they didn't really want to take anything with them. We had a course on that in school, how to tell if a customer really wanted to buy.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the class problems, to sell a customer who didn't really want to buy anything.
Yes, ma'am. About these people, what was it they did that makes you think they might have been the shoplifters?
Well, first, the way they talked. I was trying to wait on other people at the same time, and they kept me showing them all kinds of things. It took me almost a half an hour to clean up after they left.
There were two people, is that right?
Yeah, a man and a woman.
Can you give us a description of them?
I told Mr. Dunlap all about it. You want me to go over it again?
I've got it, Joe. I'm having it typed for you now.
All right, fine.
You want me to tell it again?
Well, we'll check it with you, yes, ma'am.
What kind of things these people want to see, ma'am?
Oh, just about everything at the counter. They had me so mixed up I didn't know what to do. I told you I was trying to wait on another customer. A woman who wanted to buy a suit, I kept trying to take care of her. She finally left. These two were causing so much trouble. Every time I left them, I couldn't even take care of the woman. She got mad and left. I don't really blame her. You know, Mr. Dunlap, there really should be more people up there. Only 3 girls, and when we get busy, there just aren't enough to go around. Lots of customers walk out.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see what we can do.
Lots of times they walk out without buying something because there isn't anybody to help them.
Mm-hmm.
This woman who walked out, could you describe her for us?
Oh, you bet. She was real nice. Had a lot of patience. Kept waiting for me to go back and take care of the troublemakers. Never said a word.
Well, can you tell us what she looked like?
Well, I'd say she's about 35. It's hard to say for sure. She took real good care of herself. You know, hair all nice and good makeup. Not cheap-like. Nice hands and a manicure.
Was she carrying any packages when she came in? Do you remember?
Gee, I gotta think about that. I don't think so. Oh, you know, a couple of paper bags like from the notions department. Maybe face cream or cologne, things like that.
No large boxes?
No. I don't see why you're so interested in her. The other two were the ones who caused the trouble. They're the ones who must have taken things. Why are you asking about the lady?
How was she dressed? Do you remember?
Oh, just beautifully. Had on a gray suit with large lapels. Kind of peplum that came out like this. Rhinestone buttons, beautifully good taste.
She wearing a coat?
Mm-hmm. Long. Had a stand-up collar, real full skirt, tight bodice.
Where was she looking at the suits?
Over by the counter. She'd hold them up, you know, in front of the mirror. She knew what she wanted, looked at the material, the way they were made. She'd have bought if I could have spent a little time with her. She liked the merchandise, liked everything I showed her.
Mm-hmm. How many things did you take off the racks for?
I guess she looked at a dozen styles. You know, a dozen real high-style suits. That seemed to be all she was interested in. You don't think she had anything to do with the stealing, though, do you?
Well, looks like she was the one who did the actual taking of the merchandise. The other two were there to keep you busy.
I can't believe that. She was so nice. Never seemed to get upset. Even when I couldn't spend more time with her. Real nice. Didn't get upset at all when she couldn't find what she wanted.
I'm afraid you're wrong there. She found it. We continued to interrogate the witness. We got complete descriptions of the trio. Their physical appearance and their method of operation matched those of the gang Frank and I had been looking for the past 6 weeks. Alice Evans was shown mug shots of known shoplifters, but she was not able to give us an identification. We made arrangements for her to come down to the office and check additional mug files. The average citizen looks at shoplifting as a petty nuisance, which businessmen are expected to endure. It's not entirely true. Shoplifting is big business. Last year, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of merchandise was stolen from stores in the Los Angeles area alone. Most of the goods stolen by organized gangs is sold to fences for final disposal. During the course of our investigation, we'd been working with Stores Protective Association, incorporating all of the security officers in the larger businesses. M.O. bulletins had been gotten out on the gang's activities. From what we'd been able to find out, there were 3 people working as a unit, 2 women and a man. The 3 suspects would enter a store and split up. One of the women would pretend to be looking at merchandise, while the other 2 suspects would engage the clerk in conversation, in that way keeping her away from the first member of the trio. The articles stolen were almost always either coats or suits, and we noticed that one line of merchandise seemed to attract the criminals more than others. Monday, 3:46 p.m. Frank and I went down to a second-hand clothing store on 5th Street to talk to the owner.
Be right with you.
Toby?
Yeah. Hi, fellas. What's going on?
Oh, we got some things we want to talk to you about, Toby.
Sure, just having a cup of coffee in the back. Come on, I'll pull you a cup.
Fine, thank you. In here?
Yeah, sit down. Get you some java.
Thanks.
Anything special?
No, we're just fishing, Toby. Thought you might be able to come up with a little something for us, maybe.
And here you go. Either of you want sugar?
No.
Thanks. Don't use it. Just doing part of your work here.
Is that right?
Yeah, buy sheets. Want to get in the mail tonight.
Well, we don't want to keep you, Toby.
Yeah, no trouble, Sergeant. Mac's getting a little tired anyway. Just soon stop and have a cigarette.
How's business? Pretty good?
I'm keeping up. Now, what can I do for you?
You got anything on a boosting gang working around?
Nothing more than usual. Why?
Well, we got a bunch that's giving us a little trouble. We're trying to come up with something that'll hang together on them.
2 men and a woman?
Yeah. You got anything on him?
Oh, nothing worth repeating. Rumbled around about the 3 of them. That's about it. If I had any more, I'd have called you sooner.
Where's the information coming from?
Well, you know how it is, Sergeant. You hear something here, something else there. You put them together. You come up with a story, but no way to trace it.
Yeah, I know. You got any idea where the stuff is being sold?
Same answer. Rumble's got it that all the loot's being shipped out of town. Some it back east, some goes up north. I got a piece the other day that some of it's going to Mexico.
Mexico, huh?
Yeah. Most of it's ending up in the east, though.
You know any reason they'd be hitting one brand more than the others?
Got a word. That's about all.
What's that?
The gang's laying it out around town that they'll pay up to $25 for a suit. You know, the going price is around $5, maybe $6.50.
Mm-hmm.
Figures that if you can do better with one line, that's what you're going to boost.
Huh. Why's the price gone up?
Yeah, the only way I can figure it is that they're worth more on the market.
Anybody approached you?
Nah, if they had, you'd have been called right away. You know that.
Yeah.
You got any idea where we might be able to pick up anything on the trio?
Not right out, but I'll tell you one thing.
What's that?
The way I got it, there's 4 of them.
Yeah?
2 men, 2 women. A man's a gun. He sets up the deals, makes a shipment.
How are they getting the stuff out, Toby? Do you know?
Pick up a kid and offer him a trip. Ask him to deliver a suitcase. Works out good for him. Carrier doesn't know who he's working for. Can't lead the cops back to the operation.
Mm-hmm.
About the only way I can figure it. You say none of the stolen stuff showing up down here?
Nothing so far.
Well, thanks a lot, Toby. If you hear anything, we'd sure appreciate a call.
Sure thing.
Real good coffee, Toby.
Instant. I make it in the percolator.
Well, you mean that powdered stuff? You don't have to make that in the coffee pot.
Habit, I guess.
Well, thanks again. We won't keep you, Toby.
Oh, hang on a minute.
All right.
Yes, sir? What can I do for you?
Buy used clothes?
Yes, sir. What have you got to sell?
That's in the car. I just want to be sure you're buying stuff.
Well, bring it in. We'll take a look at it.
Okay, Toby, we'll see you later, huh?
Right, Sergeant. Give me a call.
Right.
I'll be right back. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think of that, Sergeant? Sure in a hurry, isn't he?
Yeah, let's see why. Come on. You see him?
Yeah. Right up there.
Hey, hold it up there.
Huh? What do you want?
What's the matter? Didn't you hear me? I asked you to wait back there.
Well, sure, I heard you. I didn't know you were talking to me. What do you want?
Police officer. You want to step over to the car? I want to ask you a couple questions.
Well, I haven't done anything.
You didn't say you did.
Well, why do you want to talk to me? What do you want me to come
on, let's go.
All right. I'm making a mistake. I haven't done anything.
Mm-hmm.
Got the wrong man. You got no reason to talk to me.
All right. Get in. All right, sit still.
What are you doing? You won't find anything. I don't know what you guys are after. I haven't done anything.
Take your wallet out.
Why?
Take it out.
Here.
Take the money out of it. You always carry that much money, do you?
No, not always.
I know. You keep the money in your hand. Give me the wallet.
Here you are.
This your true name? Kenneth Elgin Norris. This your right name?
Yeah.
You live here now, do you?
No, not now.
Where do you live?
I got a room over on 7th. You want me to run a make on it?
Yeah, will you? Here. Here's his ID.
Thanks.
1K80 to Control 1. 1K80 to Control 1.
Control 1 to 1K80. Go ahead.
Check for 1. Kenneth Elgin Norris. That's Norris. Male white American, 26 years, 5 feet 10 and 3/4, 168 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. KMA 367.
1K80, Roger, stand by.
What's all that about? Checking to see if you're wanted any place.
Oh.
You ever been in trouble?
You mean with the cops?
That's right.
No, never.
Why'd you leave the clothing store in such a hurry?
I remembered I had to meet a guy. I remembered I was late.
Who's the guy?
A friend of mine. You wouldn't know.
Well, try us.
It's a guy named Arthur. I don't know his last name.
Where were you going to meet him?
A bar down the street.
What about the clothes you wanted to sell?
What about it?
Where are they?
I don't know.
Well, you went in to sell something that you didn't have. Is that it?
Well, I was going to pick him up from Arthur.
And you don't know his last name?
No.
How come you were going to sell the clothes?
Huh?
Why were you going to sell the clothes?
Well, that's a silly question. Why does anybody sell anything? Because I needed the money.
You look like you're sitting pretty good.
Well, I got to leave town. I'm selling all my stuff.
I thought Sid the clothes belonged to this Arthur guy.
Well, they do, but I'm going to sell them for him. He said he'd give me a piece of the profit.
Why doesn't he sell them himself?
Well, I don't know. You better ask him.
We'll try to. Now get the rest of the stuff out of your pocket. Come on, everything.
You guys are making a big mistake. You know that, don't you? A real big mistake.
Well, if we're wrong, we'll tell you.
Yeah. Here it is. Comb, change, cigarettes, and a lighter. That's all there is.
You sure?
Well, why would I lie?
Turn your pockets inside out.
What?
Turn them inside out.
All right.
All of them. The other one, too.
Told you I gave everything I had. There isn't anything else.
Oh. What's that?
Huh?
Move your foot. What's this?
Looks like a key.
What's it for?
Well, I don't know. It isn't mine.
Well, maybe it belongs to Arthur.
It could be. It isn't mine.
Looks like a check locker key, doesn't it?
It might be. I never saw it before.
Came out of your pocket, didn't it?
No, it didn't. It must have been on the floor all the time. It isn't mine.
1K80, your suspect has a felony record including burglary and is now wanted for parole violation.
1K80, Roger. KMA 367. Thought you said you'd never been in trouble.
I made a mistake.
Looks like you made more than one, doesn't it?
What?
Maybe you were wrong about the locker key.
I told you. I never saw it before.
Oh, sure. You want to sit with him, Frank?
Yeah.
I'll get to a phone.
Right.
It's just a key. What does that prove?
I don't know. Let's find out what it opens. We got the location of the locker, and with the suspect, Frank and I drove over and removed a large black suitcase. The locks on the case had been broken, and inside we found 11 women's suits of the same type that had been stolen from the Los Angeles stores. All identifying labels had been removed, but we were able to find the tag issued by the National Recovery Board inside the seams of the suits. We got in touch with their Los Angeles office, and they told us that the serial number had been issued to a San Francisco company. On the way back to the city hall, we stopped and searched the suspect's room thoroughly, but we found nothing. When we got to the squad room, Frank went to the business office to arrange a phone call to San Francisco, and I took the suspect to the interrogation room. 6:20 p.m.
You guys got to believe me. That stuff's not mine. I don't know where it came from.
Where'd you get the key?
Well, it's not mine. I never saw it before.
That's kind of hard to buy.
Well, I don't care if you want it or not. That's the way it is.
Tell us a little more about this Arthur, will you?
I told you everything I know.
Where'd you meet him?
In a bar down on Main. I told you that before. Now, what's the matter? Don't you believe me?
You're making it tough to believe.
I'm telling you the truth.
Where'd the suits come from?
I don't know.
All right, here. Take another look at them. Might help you remember, huh?
They were in the suitcase when Arthur gave them to me. That's all I know.
Where'd he get them?
I don't know.
Did he steal them?
Well, I don't know.
Why'd he give them to you?
He just said he wanted me to take care of
You
them.
told us before he wanted you to sell them, didn't you?
Well, he did.
Where were you going to make the payoff after they were sold?
He said he'd get in touch with me.
Where?
Around. He said he'd find me.
He gave you over $500 worth of suits, and he said he'd get in touch with you, huh?
That's right.
When?
Sometime.
He didn't name a date?
No, he just said he'd look me up.
How many times have you been arrested?
You got the record. Why asking me?
We want you to tell us.
I don't know. I forget.
We'll take a guess.
Oh, a few times.
5?
You got the record.
When's the last time you checked with your parole officer?
I forget.
You know your package's tabbed?
No, I didn't know until I heard on the radio.
You had no idea, huh?
No.
You went up for burglary, is that right?
Yeah, they sent me up to the joint.
You know you're going back, don't you?
Yeah, I guess.
It's not going to look good to have another charge marked on you.
What do you mean?
Burglary.
How'd you dig that one up?
These suits, if you can't explain them, it isn't going to look too good, is it?
Look, I told you Arthur gave them to me.
And he said he'd get in touch with you.
Yeah, that's right.
Sure.
Come up with the answers yet?
Says he doesn't know them.
Yeah? Maybe we can help. Just got through talking with a George Ryder up north.
Yeah.
He checked the records. Code numbers from a shipment to the Whitfield department store. Looks like the bunch we're after.
Now, who's Arthur?
You mean the suits were stolen?
You called it. Who's Arthur?
Look, I don't want to go back to the joint on a beef like this.
We don't decide that.
But if I help you guys, you'll take care of me. You'll talk to my parole officer.
Can't make any deals with you.
Yeah, but I don't want to fall this way.
That's up to you, mister. You're sitting in the middle. Now, which way do you want to go?
Nobody can help you but yourself.
Miss Arthur must be a fine friend, leaving you with a bunch of stolen merchandise.
Might be the way he figured it. What's the matter? Doesn't Arthur like you?
Okay, I'll go the route.
Yeah.
I'll tell you where to find him.
are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
You hear it everywhere. Chesterfield's for me. Here's how lovely New York model and television star Roxanne puts it.
I started smoking Chesterfields about the time I got into show business. Yes, it's Chesterfields for me. I like the regular size.
Now let's hear from the man who owns and runs the Stork Club, Sherman Billingsley.
You know, it's my privilege to be a host to over 4,000 very nice people every day, and most all of them smoke Chesterfield. As a matter of fact, our records show that Chesterfield is our largest seller, 3-1. And it's Chesterfield for me. I like them king size.
Either way you like them. Chesterfield regular, Chesterfield king size. For the taste you want, the mildness you want, a really refreshing smoke every time. Always say, Chesterfield's for me.
We called a stenographer, and Kenneth Norris gave us a complete statement. He said that he'd been approached by a man that he knew only as Arthur and asked to carry a suitcase to St. Louis. Once there, a man would have him paged at the airport and take the valise from him. In return for this service, the suspect was to be paid $100 and his expenses. Norris explained that he decided he could do better by selling the contents of the suitcase himself. This information was forwarded to the St. Louis Police Department. We got a complete description of the man he knew as Arthur and had the suspect checked through the mug books, but he was unable to make an identification. We got in touch with his parole officer and told him that we had Norris in custody. We asked that we be allowed to detain him for a few days. The following morning, we met with Chief Detectives Thad Brown and Captain Welsh. It was decided that Norris would take us to the bar where he'd met the thief and he'd point him out. Norris would then be brought back to the main jail and booked, and I would try to establish myself with this Arthur. In that way, we'd have a better chance of building a case that we could take to court and apprehending the entire shoplifting gang. On Wednesday morning, September 22nd, Norris, Frank, and I drove over to Main Street. We checked the bar, but the suspect wasn't there. We waited in our car, which was parked down the street. Arthur failed to arrive. He didn't show up at the bar on Thursday or Friday. Saturday, 12:40 p.m. Norris pointed down the street.
That's him, just going in the place.
Fellow in the gray suit there?
Yeah, that's him.
You sure?
I got no reason to lie, have I?
All right, Frank.
Yeah.
You want to take Norris back to the office? I'll go on in.
Okay, I'll be right back.
All right.
Sergeant?
Yeah.
I'll give you something for free.
Yeah, what's that?
Take it easy with Arthur. Don't press.
How do you mean that?
He's a pretty rough guy.
That's so?
Yeah, I hear he carries a gun. Be a lot of trouble if he's got it with him.
Not unless he tries to use it. I left Frank at the curb and walked into the bar. I saw the man that we knew as Arthur sitting at the rear of the place. I took a seat near the front door and ordered a cup of coffee. In a few minutes, I walked back toward Arthur.
Something you want?
Yeah, I wondered if I could have one of your cigarettes there.
There's a machine up front.
Well, if I had the price, I'd have bought a pack coming in.
All right. Here.
Got a match?
How you fixed for breath?
Look, I just asked you for a cigarette. If you don't want to give me one, say so and I'll shove off.
Never mind. Here's your match.
Thank you.
Hey, you.
Yeah.
You're broke, huh?
All the way.
Just got in town?
This morning.
Where from?
Up north.
Narrow it down.
Look, mister, here's your cigarette bag. Give me one of these. Doesn't tell you my life story.
You hungry?
I haven't eaten for 2 days.
Here.
Thanks. Appreciate this.
How long you gonna be in town?
Well, it depends on how things work out.
You got a job?
Well, I'm gonna look.
What do you do?
Whatever pays.
Tell you what.
Yeah?
I got some friends around town. Might be able to use you. Check with me in a couple of days. Might be able to do something for you.
How do I get in touch with you?
Meet me here. I tag the place a couple times a week. Just ask if Arthur's around.
That's your name?
That's what I'm using this season. You look me up, kid. We'll work something out.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. I sat and talked to Arthur for another half hour. During that time, he wouldn't tell me his last name, and I had no way of finding out anything more about him. At 12:10, I saw Frank drive by the front door. That was the signal that the crew of detectives were standing by to follow the suspect. I left the bar and walked down Main Street up to 7th. Frank was waiting for me. We drove back to the city hall and discussed what had happened with Chief Brown and Captain Welsh. During the next 3 days, Arthur was kept under constant surveillance. He didn't drive an automobile. He contacted no one. We were able to learn a considerable amount about the man. Although he didn't try to make contact with any other members of the gang, it was obvious that he was the prime fence and that he was directing the operation. Wednesday afternoon, I walked into the bar on Main Street. Arthur wasn't there, but the bartender said that he was expecting him. I waited. At 6:47 p.m., the suspect entered the place. He took a seat at the rear of the bar and motioned me back. Hi, I've been looking for you.
You're right.
Yeah. Wonder if you've been able to come up with that job you were talking about. I could sure use a touch.
You like to travel?
What?
I think I might have something for you. You got to go out of town, though.
For dough?
I wouldn't ask you any other way.
Well, what do I have to do?
A friend of mine has a suitcase he wants delivered to a party in Chicago.
Why didn't he send it by mail?
Doesn't want it to go that way. He wants it delivered personally.
Well, what's it pay?
All your expenses and $100.
Uh-huh. What's in the suitcase?
That isn't any of your business.
What happens if I get picked up? I don't know I'm not carrying anything hot.
You got to take my word for it, Gene.
All right. Who do I deliver the suitcase to?
I'll meet you in the morning. I'll give you the bag then. You catch the 10 o'clock plane. When you land at Chicago, go to the coffee shop. You'll be paged. Meet the man and give him the suitcase.
Well, how do I know if it's the right guy?
We'll give you the name. He's the only one who knows what the name is and when you're coming in.
All right. Where do I meet you?
Be out in front of this place at 8 in the morning. I'll pick you up.
Just one more thing. How about the money?
You won't need any going back. When you turn over the suitcase to my friend, he'll give you the 100. You already have your ticket.
All right. Sounds okay. Not as permanent as I'd like.
If you carry this off, we'll be able to do more business.
Well, I'll meet you here then at 8 in the morning, is that right?
Right. Be on time. I don't want you to miss that plane. A lot depends on this deal. I don't want anything to go wrong.
No, don't worry.
What?
Neither do I. I left the bar and met Frank. We stood to the front of the place, and at 9:56 p.m., the suspect came out. He called a cab, and we followed him. He went out to the apartment where we knew he lived. Frank and I waited out front. At 11:20, a car pulled up in front of the place, and 3 people got out. They matched the description of the thieves in our shoplifting operation. They were carrying a large suitcase. We waited for 10 minutes, and then Frank and I went up to Arthur's apartment.
Number 408, huh?
Down this way.
Uh-huh.
I get the door.
Wait a minute.
All right.
Yeah.
Who is it? A minute. What are you doing here?
What's this all about, Art? Police officers, you're under arrest.
Stand still.
Cop, a lousy cop. Should have known. I thought I could trust you. I thought you were honest.
You sure pick him, a cop for a messenger boy. You're real smart.
I thought I could depend on him. I thought he was honest.
You don't know what the word means.
How about it, mister?
Huh?
Do you?
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On January 18th, trial was held in Department 97, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. You know, the Chesterfield you smoked today is the best cigarette ever made, and best for you. Now, that's a fact. And to my way of thinking, it's the very reason for you to change to Chesterfield. Try 'em either way, regular or king size. If you try 'em, I think you'll say with all of us, Chesterfield's for me.
Arthur Nelson Thompson, Samuel Donald Hickok, Georgia Baxter Nielsen, and Dorothy Marie Simpson were tried and convicted of burglary in the second degree, 14 counts. They received sentence as prescribed by law. Burglary in the second degree is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period not less than 1 nor more than 15 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to thank the editors of Cosmopolitan magazine for this month's pictorial feature on Jack Webb and Dragnet. Cosmopolitan, the May issue, on your newsstands tomorrow.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Jack Crucian, Alice Bacchus, Ralph Moody, Herb Ellis. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely different Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Filter cigarette smokers, here is headline news. Nationwide demand for L&M filters drops price. Now you save up to 4 cents a pack, 40 cents a carton. Now everyone can afford America's highest quality and best filter tip cigarette. Remember, only L&M's have the miracle filter tip containing alpha cellulose. You get much more flavor, much less nicotine. Buy L&M filters, the distinctive monogram cigarette at the new low price. L&M filters.
Hear Crime and Peter Chambers following John Cameron Swayze on the NBC Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. Dragnet. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A killer's loose in your city. You don't know who he is or where to find him. You don't know who his victim will be. Your job, stop him.
It was Tuesday, May 13th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Lorman. My name's Friday. I was on my way back from handwriting, and it was 8:26 a.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide.
You get it?
Yeah. John just finished up. He says the handwriting matches. Victim wrote the note.
Huh. That's it then, huh?
Yeah.
You talked to his wife?
Yeah, she's pretty broken up.
Figures. Ate too fast. I got heartburn.
Well, why don't you take a couple of Pepto Pals or whatever it is? Let's get on with this. A lot of work here.
Hey, there's an idea. Never thought of that. Yeah, I got some in my locker over here.
You sure have.
Last time I bought a big box of them. There must be some left.
Find them?
Yeah. He thinks the husband fits in, huh?
Yeah, all the way along the... What are you doing?
Huh?
I said, what are you doing there?
Well, I found the Peptos.
Yeah, but what are you doing with them there?
Oh, putting them together. I must have dropped them sometime. See, all the pills are all broken up. Trying to put one together. You can't be too careful. Can't take too much. What is this? Well, there. One pill. That's all you're supposed to take, just one.
Uh-huh. I don't understand.
What do you mean?
How you can come in here, no sleep, upset stomach, and feel so good.
Yeah. You know something, Joe?
What's that?
Suppose. I really don't.
You don't, huh?
No. That ought to be about right, I guess. Does that look like one pill to you?
I don't know, Frank.
I hope so.
It's too important a decision for me to help you with.
Oh, Pepto Pal. Good for what ails you. Potent, Joe. Real potent.
Mm-hmm. I just wondered if you were all through now.
Oh, as soon as I scrape the crumbs away. Okay?
Wait a minute. Here's one you missed.
Thanks. Oh, you're half gone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Where to? Yeah.
Well, are you all through now? You've had your pill and everything?
Sure, I took my pill. I've got the Pepto Pals all worked out now. What can I do for you?
Gotcha. I'll get it.
For us?
Yeah, shooting at the corner of Broadway and San Julian.
Who's the victim?
Traffic officer. We left the office and drove to the scene of the shooting. Traffic at the intersection had come to a virtual standstill. 18 feet from the northwest corner, lying in the middle of the pedestrian crosswalk, was a uniformed traffic officer. He was wearing the white cap of the traffic division. There was a large blood stain on the right side of his chest, and his service revolver was still in his holster. By the time we got to the scene, the ambulance had arrived, and the wounded officer was being given emergency treatment. Other officers were trying to get the traffic moving again, and additional men were throwing up a blockade around the immediate vicinity in an attempt to apprehend the person who'd shot the policeman. Captain Lorman and Chief Detective Thad Brown arrived and took charge of the search. Frank and I checked through the crowd that had gathered, and we found a witness to the shooting.
Yeah.
I saw the whole thing, officer, right from the beginning. I saw it. Just about the most awful thing I ever saw.
All right, sure. If you'll just give us your name.
Roy Hickok. It's Hickok.
All right, Mr. Hickok. Now, if you'll tell us what happened.
Well, I was on my way to work, walking down the street. I got to the corner here, Broadway and San Julian. I got to the corner. I stopped for a light.
Go ahead.
I just stood there waiting for it to be time to cross. All of a sudden, this car came up and slid to a stop. The light changed, and he had to stop. He must have been going pretty fast because he went clear out into the intersection. And the officer, the one who was shot, held up his hand. I think that was the only reason the driver didn't run the light. The officer held up his hand.
All right, sir, go ahead.
Well, the fella stopped, but he was right in the middle of the crosswalk. Everybody had to go around the car, out into the intersection. He was right in the middle, and we all had to go around it.
Yeah.
Well, he just sat there. He didn't make any try to back up or nothing. He just sat there, kind of waiting for the light to change again so he could get going.
I see.
Then the officer, the one who was shot, he started to walk over to the fella. I guess he wanted him to back up. Must have been something like that. Wanted him to get out of the way.
What happened then?
Well, all of a sudden, this guy in the car just started shooting.
Where was the officer when the shooting started?
We hadn't got to the car yet. He must have been about 10, 12 feet from it. This guy pulled out the gun and started plowing away. Point blank, he did it, right in the policeman's face.
Yeah.
Well, everybody on the street got panicky when they heard the shooting. Started to run everywhere, yelling, screaming, real panic.
What did the officer do?
Nothing. He stood there and looked surprised. And then he tried to get his gun out of the holster, but, before he could do it, the fellow in the car shot a couple more times, and the policeman fell down.
What did he do then?
You mean the guy in the car?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, he took off, drove right through the people, and drove down San Julian. It's a wonder he didn't kill somebody the way he drove off. Just didn't care about anybody. Barreled south on San Julian.
Did you talk to the other officers about this?
Well, not too much. Seems like as soon as it happened, there were so many people around, there wasn't much time to talk to anybody. I called down where I worked, and I told them I'd be late. I told them to expect me when I walked in. I never did see so many policemen or cars.
Just a minute, will you? Folks, you'll have to get back here, please. Give us a little more room now. All right, thank you. Can you give us a description of the car?
The one the killer drove?
Yes, sir.
Well, you bet I can. I can tell you all about it.
All right, would you go ahead?
Well, it was a dark-colored sedan. A dark blue.
Mm-hmm. What kind of car was it?
You mean the brand?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm not real sure about that. It all happened so fast. All of a sudden it was over. I only got a kind of a quick look at it because I wasn't paying much attention to it.
Well, look, folks, you'll have to stay back here, please. Frank, hold them back over there, will you? Now, what kind of a car was it?
Well, I think it was either a Plymouth or maybe a DeSoto, but I'm not sure.
But you're pretty sure about the color, are you?
Oh, yeah. It was blue, dark blue.
Well, what about the man driving the car? Did you get a good look at him?
Yeah, I guess just about everybody did. Sitting out there in the middle of the street like that. Everybody that went by him had a look at him.
Could you give us a description of him?
Well, what do you want to know?
Well, how about the color of his hair?
It was light, not real blonde, but a light color.
How about his eyes?
It looked like they was blue.
Mm-hmm. About how old would you say the man was?
I don't know, maybe 24, 25, around in there. He wasn't real old.
Was he clean shaven?
Yeah.
How about glasses? Do you remember? Was he wearing them?
No.
Was there anything about him that'd make it easier for us to identify him?
I don't think I know what you mean.
Well, was there anything about him, a scar, maybe a birthmark, something like that you might have seen?
Not that I remember. Might have had something like that, but if he did, I don't remember.
Did you have the chance to see what the man was wearing?
Well, just that he had on a white shirt and a jacket. It looked like the ones they issue in the Army. The kind of windbreaker type, light material.
Uh-huh. Did the man say anything?
If he did, I didn't hear it. As soon as he started shooting, it seemed like the roof come out. All the noise, everybody yelling, trying to get out of the way of the bullets. If he said anything, I sure didn't hear it.
I see. Now, is there anything else that you can give us on the man?
Well, there is, Sergeant, but I feel a little silly about it.
Well, what's that, sir?
What's about the car? I told you I didn't pay much attention to it, not at first. Well, after the shooting started, then I got as good a look as I could.
Mm-hmm.
I got a pretty good look at the back of it when the guy took off.
Just a minute, I didn't hear you.
I say I got a pretty good look at the back of it when the guy took off. When he went down the street.
I see.
I feel a little silly because I didn't get more.
How's that?
The license number.
Yeah.
I can only get 4 of the numbers.
The witness was able to give us the numbers, 1 Sugar 139. A broadcast was gotten out carrying this information, and a search was started through auto records in an attempt to come up with the owner of the vehicle. 2 men were detailed to the Department of Motor Vehicles to assist their men in the search of the files. Meantime, Chief Brown and Captain Lorman had ordered roadblocks to be put up on San Julian and all streets leading to adjoining areas. The one witness, Roy Hickok, was taken to the city hall and he was shown the mug books. He was unable to come up with an identification on the suspect. 12:40 p.m. Frank put in a call to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital and found that Officer Larry Giroux was still in a critical condition and that he had not regained consciousness. His family had been notified and the car was dispatched to bring his wife to the hospital. All people in the immediate vicinity of the shooting were interrogated and their statements were taken, but none of them could give us a lead as to the identity of the suspect. 5:27 p.m. Frank and I went back to the office. While he checked by auto records, I put in a call to Captain Lorman. Yeah, Skipper. No, they're still checking. Yeah. Well, Frank's down there now. Uh-huh. Yeah, he looked at him, but he wasn't able to give us anything. No, I say he couldn't give us anything. No, last we heard he was still unconscious. Yeah, that's right. Well, he left word that we're to be called if he comes out. Mm-hmm. No. Galindo and McCready are over there. Yeah, she's taking it pretty hard.
Joe.
Right. Just a minute, I got Skipper on the phone. If anything turns up, we'll call you.
Joe,
yeah, important. Hold on a minute, will you, Skipper? Yeah, what do you got?
Well, they made the car.
Yeah.
It was stolen this morning.
Well, we got a pretty good piece of news. No, Frank just came in. They made the car. We stole them this morning. We got in touch with the owner of the car and we talked to him. He told us that he'd noticed that the car was gone from the place where he'd left it the night before and that he'd filed a report on it immediately. We got a full description of the vehicle and a supplementary broadcast was gotten out. 8:14 p.m. We got a call from Georgia Street Hospital telling us that Officer Giroux had regained consciousness and he could be questioned. Frank and I left the office and drove over to see him. By the time we got there, however, he lapsed into a coma again. We talked to Dr. Sebastian. He told us that he'd removed 4 bullets from Giroux's body. One of the shots had severed the officer's spinal cord. In the event that he pulled out of it, he'd never walk again. Frank and I talked with Galindo and McCready. They'd been able to interview the wounded officer, but they hadn't been able to get any additional information from him. As we walked down the hall, we met Mrs. Giroux.
Sergeant Friday?
Yes, ma'am?
I'm Ellen Giroux, Larry's wife.
Yes, ma'am.
Do they know yet? Do they know if Larry's going to be all right?
Well, it'd be better if you talked to Dr. Sebastian, Miss Giroux.
I have. He tells me they don't know yet. How can they say that? They don't know. Larry's been here for almost 12 hours. They must know something. Why won't they tell me?
We're sorry, Miss Giroux.
Have you caught the man yet? The man who did this to Larry, have you got him yet?
No, ma'am, not yet.
Then what are you doing here? Why aren't you out looking for him?
We're doing everything we can, ma'am.
But you haven't caught him. You're all running around looking, but you haven't caught him. Well, that's doing a lot of good. It makes me feel a lot better to know that the man who shot my husband is still running free.
We're sorry.
That doesn't help, Sergeant. I can't take it home with me and spread out your sorrow in front of my children. They're still going to want to know where their father is. They're still going to want to have him back. Your good wishes aren't going to be enough.
Joe, I'll check the office.
All right. Tell the skipper we're going to tag Metro Division.
Right.
Miss Giroux, we know how you feel. We know what's going through your mind. My partner there was just shot not too long ago, and I've been right here in this same place waiting for a report, too, just like you. I know what it is to see the doctor come out of a treatment room and not say anything. I know there isn't much I can say to make it easier. But we can tell you this. There are 4,000 policemen in this city. Every one of them is looking for the man who shot your husband.
Joe?
Yeah.
The suspect?
Yeah.
They found him.
The tip had come in from a man who had phoned the complaint board and said that he knew where the suspect was hiding. The man wouldn't give his name. Immediately, 2 cars were dispatched to the address. It was a cheap rooming house on East 4th Street. The manager of the place said that there was a tenant who matched the description of the suspect in a room on the 5th floor. He'd given the name James Krell. When the investigating officers had approached the room, they were met with gunfire. They returned the fire. The building was evacuated, and the streets in front of the building were roped off. Several more cars arrived from Metro Division, and the building was completely surrounded. Frank and I stopped by the office and picked up tear gas equipment. From what we were told, the suspect had barricaded the door leading into the room with furniture. The only way we had to get him out alive was with gas. Frank and I talked with Captain Lorman and with Chief Brown. It was decided to use a flight-right shell and blast through the door. Frank took the gun and we went up to the 5th floor. The halls were empty.
You all set?
Let's give him another chance.
Right.
All right, Krell. We'll give you one more chance to come out of there. Come on, Krell. Open the door and throw the gun out.
He's not coming out.
All right, this is the last time around, Krell.
Get out of here, Pop. Get out of here and leave me alone. You try to come through that door and I'll kill you. I swear I will. I'll kill you where you stand.
All right, Frank. Let's put the mask on.
Right.
You all trust?
Yeah.
All right, let it go. should be coming out.
Yeah.
He's moving that furniture.
I'll cover this side.
All right, watch it.
I'm coming out. I give up. I quit.
All right, throw that gun out here. Throw the gun out first, and then you follow it.
Okay. I'm doing what you say. Here's the gun. I quit. Here's the gun. I got it.
All right, Carl. Come on out with your hands behind your head. Come on, move.
All right. Don't shoot. Don't shoot. I'm doing like you say. I'm coming.
All right, come on, move. Down here. Come on, move, Carl. All right, this will do. Now stand still. Hands up against the wall. Come on, Carl. Do what he says.
I can't breathe. I'll do whatever you say, but I can't breathe. I can't breathe. That gas.
You better get used to it, Carl.
What?
If that cop dies, they won't let you walk out of the room. The suspect was taken to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital for treatment. When the investigating officers had approached the room that he was hiding in, Krell had shot at them through the door. They'd returned the fire, and one of the bullets had shattered his left wrist. We got his full name, and we ran him through R&I. We found that he had a minor record in California and was, at the time, a deserter from the Army. His wrist was taken care of, and then Frank and I talked to him in the treatment room.
Lousy deal all the way around.
Is that right?
Sure, you guys had no right to come up there and shoot off that gas.
We didn't call it.
Lousy deal.
Why'd you shoot that officer?
I thought he was going to shoot me. It was self-defense.
When they picked him up, his gun was still in his holster.
Then somebody put it back.
Why do you want to shoot you?
Who knows? Who can figure any cop? You're all sadists.
Why'd you do it?
Look, I'll tell you nice and plain. I drove up to the signal. I stopped. This wise cop come over and started rousing me about being in the intersection. I told him to shut up. I don't have to take that kind of talk from nobody. He pulled a gun. It was self-defense.
We got a couple of people saw the whole thing. They tell a little different.
They're either psycho or else you're paying them off.
How long you been AWOL?
Who says I am?
The Army?
I could square that beef with him.
What about that car you were driving this morning?
What about
Where'd you get it?
Belongs to a friend of mine, a bird.
Owner reported it stolen.
He must have forgotten. He told me to take it.
What's the friend's name?
I forget.
He'd pay you to remember.
I have a very bad memory.
Why'd you shoot the officer?
Because he was going to shoot me.
He just walked up and said he was going to shoot you. Is that it?
Yeah, guy's a sadist. All you cops are. Put that uniform on, you all think you can boss anybody around. Well, you made a mistake with this one. Isn't anybody bosses me around.
How long you been in town?
Why?
Answer the question.
Couple of weeks.
You've been AWOL for over 6 months now. Where you been?
Around.
Where?
I like to travel.
Manager of that rooming house says you just checked in this morning. Is that right?
You talked to her. I didn't.
All right, where you been staying?
There goes the memory again.
Look, you're in trouble, Krell. Talk like that won't do you any good.
One of those things. I wish I could help you fellas, but there's nothing I can do.
Where'd you get the car?
From a friend.
What's his name?
I don't remember.
But he said you could take it.
Yeah?
Then why'd he report it stolen?
Ask him.
We did. He says he doesn't know you. Where'd you get the gun?
Picked it up.
Where?
Bought it. Don't know the name of the store.
It's being checked now. You might as well save time and tell us.
You're getting paid.
What'd the officer say before you shot him?
Didn't say anything. Just pulled his gun. It was faster. Self-defense.
Now, you might think this is a game, Krell. You maybe think you're a big man sitting here, but I want to set you straight. You're in trouble. More trouble than you've ever been in before. We've got at least 20 people who saw you deliberately gun that cop. They're willing to swear to it in court.
You know what I think it was?
Now, you go ahead and tell us.
It was this kind of purple flash, and all of a sudden this cop was laying there. Maybe it wasn't self-defense. Maybe it was temporary insanity. Hey, how's that sound? Temporary insanity. He died?
No, not yet.
Cops and cats, you can't kill them.
You made a pretty good try. All right, mister, on your feet.
What for?
Come on, let's go.
We're going to jail?
Get up, Krell. Come
Maybe
on.
you're going to take me to the gas chamber right now, huh? Do without a trial or nothing. Just lock me up and drop the eggs.
You're awful close to it, mister.
You got to get me there first.
You stand in front of it right now.
I tell you what, I'll give you 10 to 1 I don't make it.
Come on.
Well, I bet you guys would just love to have me make a break, huh?
Now, you listen, Krell. With that arm, we can't put handcuffs on you, but you're still in custody. Don't try anything.
Well, how about it? You'd like that, wouldn't you? Get your pictures in all the papers. Heroic cops killed criminal.
All right, in here.
Yeah, you guys would really like that.
I'm going to give you something for free, Krell.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
You talk a lot, but you don't say anything.
Always happens. Put a guy in the uniform right away, he's a big man. A bum on the outside, but just give him a badge and a suit, right away he's big.
Yeah, sure. Come on.
Hey, how's about a cigarette?
Here.
Well, thanks. Got a match?
Come on, move. Car's back this way.
Hey, wait a minute.
What do you want?
A cigarette. Not doing me much good without a match.
All right, here.
Grab him, Joe. Hold it up, Krell. All right, Krell, hold it up. Hold it up or I'll shoot.
Down. Come on. How about it, Joe? Well, I guess he was right.
Huh?
That bet about the gas chamber?
Yeah?
He won't make it. was called down from the hospital, and the suspect, James Krell, was pronounced dead. The body was removed to the county morgue. In going over the dead man's effects, we found a receipt from one of the downtown hotels. There were 2 names listed on it, and a notation to the effect that the rent on room 517 had been paid for a week. The other name on the slip was Sidney Larson. We checked it through R&I, and we found that Larson had a long felony record in California and had been paroled 2 months previously. The report came back on the gun that Krell had used. It was among 7 revolvers that had been stolen from a hardware store in Tulare on May 6th. The other 6 guns were still missing. We checked with Dr. Sebastian on Officer Giroux's condition. We were told that the policeman was still unconscious, but that he had passed the critical stage. Mrs. Giroux collapsed when she heard the news that her husband would never walk again, and she was placed under sedative. 10:48 p.m. Frank and I left the office and drove over to the hotel named on the receipt that we found. It was a run-down place with a potted rubber plant in the lobby. We rang the bell on the counter and waited.
Yeah?
You the manager here?
Well, right now I am, yeah. Why?
Police officers. Want some information.
About what?
Take a look at this. That one of your receipts?
Let me take a look. Now, wait a minute. Let me get the lights on so I can see. Yeah, there's the name right on the top. Sure looks like it's one of ours, don't it?
You recognize the 2 names on it?
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I recognize him good.
This fellow Larson's he in now?
Well, I don't know. We don't keep a very close tab on the people who stay here. Service isn't too good, but we don't ask questions. Change the sheets once a week. We don't ask questions.
Is he in?
Well, he might be. I'd have to check it.
There's a police investigation, mister. Is Larson in?
I'll check the box. Well, key's gone. Must be upstairs.
He alone?
Can't say. Might be. I didn't hear nobody go up, but then I don't listen too good.
Show us the room.
You mean I gotta go up with you?
Come on, mister. Let's go.
Look, we got a nice, quiet hotel. We don't cause no trouble. There's no reason for you cops to come snooping around.
You got the pass key?
Yeah. Let's go. Have to take the elevator up. I can't go to the stairs.
All right. Go ahead.
Uh-huh.
5th floor.
That's what they say, sir.
How long have 2 of them been here?
Huh?
Larson and Krell, how long have they been here?
Well, I'll have to check the book for that. Can't carry those things around in my head. If I did, there wouldn't be no room for the important things.
About when?
What?
About when did they come in?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe 2-3 weeks around in there.
They got any friends?
Well, most everybody's got a few friends.
Any of them come around here?
No, not that I've seen. We're not snoopy like some.
I'll get the door.
All right, which way?
What?
Which way is 517?
To the left. I don't want no trouble here now, huh?
We're not going to make any.
Look, this is a quiet hotel. We don't want any of the tenants to get sore. You guys are going to walk out. I got to live here. I don't want no trouble.
Here it is.
All right, give me the key.
Yeah.
I'll take that side, Frank.
Yeah.
Look, you stand back out of the way and keep still. Will you?
No trouble now, huh? Please.
Keep your voice
No
down, will you?
trouble.
All set.
Yeah.
Looks like he's asleep. All right, you take the right side.
He's got a gun.
Get out of here. Come on. All right, come on. Out of here. Watch it, Frank. Yeah.
All right, now, come on, Larson. On your feet. Get up.
What are you doing in here? You got no right to come in like this.
I'll check the room, Joe.
What are you looking for? I'm registered. You check my parole officer. He'll tell you I'm clean.
What about the gun?
All right, so I got a gun.
You're an ex-con, aren't you?
Big deal.
All right, let's go.
Where?
You've been there before.
Take a look, Joe.
5 of them. All right, where'd you get these?
You find out, cop. You're getting nothing from me.
All right, come on.
Take it easy.
Let's go.
What about Krell? You get him, too?
That's right.
You got him in jail?
He's dead.
Krell?
That's right. He tried to make a break and it didn't work.
Poor kid. Didn't know what it was all about. Wanted to be a tough guy.
Yeah, and you were going to show him how, weren't you?
Nice kid. He wanted to be a big man. We had it all planned. Gonna hit the big time. Got the guns. He went out to get a car this morning. That's probably why he killed the cop. Krell got scared. He didn't know he wanted to be big. He wanted people to talk about him.
Don't worry about it, mister.
Huh?
They will.
The coroner's jury returned a verdict that the death of James Edward Krell was justifiable homicide. Sidney Carter Larson was filed on for ex-convict with a gun, and upon completion of sentence on that count was released to the authorities of Tulare, California, for prosecution on a charge of burglary.
You have just heard Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action, and starring Jack Webb, a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.